All right, is this thing on? I'm just kidding. Hey there, guys. How are you? Welcome back to another awesome video. And for the very first time ever, I'm doing a live movie review with you guys in the chat. Leaving, if you guys want to leave any comments, suggestions, whatever requests, all that fun jazz. And I was requested to do this idea sort of by Lord Kelpo, Brandon, but not this specific movie. But he gave me this idea to do this. So we're gonna do my very first awesome review live, is we're gonna go deep and dive into Avengers Endgame. So real quick, this is gonna be all talking deleted scenes, talking about breakdowns of character arcs, all sorts of things and whatnot, stuff like that. You name it. So what's going on, Balloony crew? And once in a while during this chat, during this review, we'll pop on here and there and say what's up, what's going on in chat. So if we maybe in between breaks, but anyways, so Avengers Endgame being the fourth Avengers movie, the 22nd or 21st MCU movie, and kind of wrapping up the Infinity Saga, where after the events of what happened with Thanos and Infinity War, the snap, and all that, kind of how that went down, we now have the Avengers half the Avengers obviously are gone. So whatever team members, whatever superheroes, whatever Avengers members we have left, that's what we have left. Obviously, literally, Thanos snapped literally half the universe. And not just heroes, it literally just just spiraled, and the whole snap kind of was random. So it's not like he specifically picked out these characters to get rid of. It just so happens they were erased from existence and from the universe. So now that basically literally half the universe is gone, people have to thrive and try to live on and live out without these people. So we had the Avengers that were kind of we can't let this happen. There's got to be a way to somehow prevent this, somehow restore everything back to normal, because as much as everything's gone somewhat semi-okay for everyone, it's a rough sort of situation, but everyone's kind of going through it, living through it sort of situation, like the Avengers, and you got random bystanders and stuff like that. And people like Tony Stark now has a family. He's married to Pepper Potts. He's got a daughter named Morgan, very sweet little daughter, stuff like that. So he's got a little sweet little family going on. He doesn't want to destroy that dynamic. So he's kind of you know what? I've got my life together. You guys just do your thing. So the remaining Avengers decide that, hey, let's take out Thanos. Maybe there's a way we can find Thanos and then somehow bring things back to the way it was originally. But in doing so, when they get to Thanos, they realize, okay, we see Thanos and he's kind of at peace with himself. And that we also find out the stones are destroyed. The gauntlet is destroyed. Basically Thanos is all screwed up and fucked up and scarred and looks like Two-Face a little bit, because in the process, he realizes that, hey, I did what I did, and my ideology, what I did was right in the universe. So I have no other further, my destiny was fulfilled. So with that being said, he's got a retirement plan. He decided just to kind of just go to this foreign planet and just get rid of the stones. And by destroying the stones, he used the stones and basically just reduced them to obviously just nothingness. So now it's kind of it's inevitable. Now you're stuck with it this way. So you got to either deal with it or not. Either way, it's not your choice. This was my choice. And so what other option they do? Then they basically kill Thanos. Thor just slashes his hammer, his Stormbreaker, and slices his head open. And that just blew my mind. I remember when I first saw that. I was shocked. And I thought, okay, is this how the movie now? Is this the end of the movie? I was like, there's no way this could be it. How do you do everything else that was supposed to happen or that is going to happen? So now it's well, what do we do? So because through the luck of Ant-Man and through his time-traveling minivan and that rat's a hero, joking, Ant-Man's yo, we can do some time travel sort of thing. Back to the Future. And they're literally ripping every single time-traveling movie. Back to the Future, there's Time Cop, Hot Tub Time Machine, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Terminator, you name them all, Quantum Leap, referencing every little aspect of how this could work and how this could also be a good effect, but a bad effect. And how time travel it gets crazy. It gets shit crazy. So they're like, okay, let's do the one thing we haven't done yet in this Marvel universe, and that's time travel. So they decided to time travel, and they're like, okay, how do we do this? Do we just get the stones, and how are we going to find the stones and all these other things? And there's also consequences of like, well, if we take the stones from the past, then we're creating altered realities and we're creating altered futures and all this crazy stuff that could really screw up with not our universe, but other universes, and create other universes where things don't go right. And now there's no consistency. So they're like, okay, here's how we're going to do this. Time heist. We take the stones, we borrow them for a moment, and once we're done restoring everything, we bring them back. So that's how they do that. So this is directed by the Russo brothers, who have done a lot of the Marvel stuff lately with Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War. They did the Avengers Infinity War, and they've done this movie, and they really know how to do this so well. Dude, do you think Adam Warlock will have anything to do with the Infinity Stones in future movies? I do not know their balloony crew, but that's cool that you know about Adam Warlock. Sweet. All right, so back on track for a moment, trying to collect some thoughts. So like I said, they've kind of been working with Marvel for a while. They kind of keep them at this really great consistency in sort of a way. And one thing I do want to say is that this is the movie that I think I want to talk about Infinity War real quick, this is the movie I think we all expected Infinity War to be. Like this big epic thing where we see Iron Man like returning to like reunite with Captain America, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy next alongside with Spider-Man and Black Panther and Doctor Strange, and then some odd reason there's Captain Marvel and all that sort of stuff. I think this is that's what we thought Infinity War was going to be, because everyone was thinking before Endgame came out, we saw Infinity War, we're all thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna see the Avengers, they're gonna team up, unite, and fight Thanos, and maybe probably save the world or do something that means, hey, we did it, guys. So, but instead, I like how they decided that this was going to be their Avengers movie. Because if you really think about it, you break down both Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War was more of Thanos' movie. He's not that he's the main star, but he's got the more focus and he's got the more like screen time. He has more development than our MCU characters. And that's a good thing. And that was smart too, because if you really think about it, up until Infinity War, we already know about these characters. We can kind of have our heroes kind of take a back seat for just one movie. I think that won't hurt. And I think that was smart because, like I said, we already know of like, okay, what everyone's going through and dealing with. And now it's just about them stopping Thanos. And how they really brought Thanos is fantastic. And don't get me wrong, you see some great screen time for Thanos. And I really like how the MCU has made Thanos and how like visually and as a character, how he works so well, his ideology. Although he basically is creating genocide, it's still, you find this idea that there is a bit of like, not relatability, but almost like those types of villains that this is something that they say and do that you could see yourself in that position. Like, hey, he's got a point. Like I said before, I'll say again, people said Killmonger was right. People said Vulture was right about things. And then even Mysterio, people thought Mysterio had a point. And let me just move this for a real quick second because I just really... maybe I'll bring this a little more here. I just realized kind of like how things are a little bit like, I'm basically lopsided a little. Like I got half like light here and half shadow. So I'll work with it, see what I got. But so back with Thanos, he's still got good screen time in Endgame. But like I said, Infinity War was his movie. Endgame is the Avengers movie we were expecting, especially that big epic showdown with everyone lined up and the Avengers assemble moment is just fantastic. That was just visually done. And honestly, I kind of wish Endgame got at least nominated for best visual effects because they really put in their all in this. Although we knew for a fact, us like movie fans, us Marvel fans, and just us people in general know for a fact that, hey, this is not going to be their last Marvel movie because they already announced Phase 4, they announced Phase 5, like even when they finished Endgame and all this other stuff that was going to happen afterwards in 2020 and etc. It's still, you could really tell how much effort they really put into this film, even if this was going to be their last film. Even if this wasn't their last film, you could tell how much visually and the writing and just everything that went together, and culminating this great saga that's been happening for a decade. It's crazy because no one would ever have thought that back in 2008 Iron Man was going to launch this big cinematic universe, and look where we are now, and it still blows my mind. And like I said, just that moment alone visually was fantastic. And just that was our Avengers movie that we all expected, was seeing Cap and then seeing Thor reunite, and then have Doctor Strange bring in all the different sorcerers, and then next Black Panther shows up with Wakanda, and then all the Guardians of the Galaxy with the Ravagers, and then Spider-Man, and then Iron Man. Everyone's all here. The gang's all here. It's like a big reunion for boy bands and all this other like fun little jokes you can make fun of about it. But it was still awesome to see, and just if you were in that theater, saw that, it was even better just to see that. So let's obviously get into the main kind of like three. I like to call them the Marvel Trinity a little bit, because real quick, DC has their Trinity. Their Trinity is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Marvel's Trinity, or at least the MCU's Trinity, is Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. And although they don't necessarily, not all of them not technically all three of them don't die, but you can definitely feel their arcs have kind of reached their pinnacle moment of passing down the torch, because that was the big thing that people were speculating with Infinity War and Endgame, was there was going to be a passing of the torch. Each one has their own form of passing down the torch. Iron Man, obviously being the one that he actually dies, and like I said before, there's gonna be spoilers, so if you haven't seen Endgame, I feel like at this point, maybe you people should have seen Endgame by now, but at the same time, if you haven't, it's literally on Disney Plus. It's a 3-hour movie, so I hope you could sit for that long. So good luck to you, honestly, and more power to you if you actually sit through it, like in one viewing, without like pausing or anything like that. But I think that's hard. But point being, yeah, it's on there if you want to go check it out. And I'm not sponsored by Disney Plus. I wish I was sponsored, but not yet. So back to what I was saying. With Iron Man, he obviously dies, and that sacrifice he makes, and that epic moment of the "I am Iron Man" snaps the fingers is amazing, and it was really awesome. It's very quotable. And just Rob Downey Jr. being this really great, one of the best performances and one of the best performers in this MCU. He started this saga and he ends this saga. And there's more I'll get into, about, I feel it was very fitting for Rob Downey Jr.'s Iron Man to get the Infinity Gauntlet over, say, someone like Thor or Captain America or Spider-Man or Captain Marvel, because there's been deleted scenes and rumors of that. Hey, what if there was other people that took the gauntlet and did the snap? What if Hulk snapped Thanos? What if Captain America did it? What if Thor did it? What if Captain Marvel? All these other characters did it. And I feel like that was Iron Man specifically for many reasons, but we'll get into that in a moment. So like I said, he really, obviously, he started this saga and he ends this saga, and seeing his demise and him literally passing down the torch to kind of multiple people. Sure, there's one specific person, but it's kind of in a way multiple people, because you could kind of go in an alley and say that maybe in one direction he was thinking that there's a passing of the torch to Rhodey, his best friend, War Machine, Don Cheadle, and you got him sort of passing it to his wife, Pepper Potts, Rescue, which that was really cool, seeing the Rescue armor show up, and how that was really awesome to see Pepper Potts actually take that mantle, because there's been comics and cartoons where Pepper Potts has been known as Iron Girl, Iron Lady, but it's better to be called her Rescue because it's cooler. It's better than saying Iron Woman. I mean, it would make sense, but I think Rescue is cooler. So you have that. Maybe kind of bringing that also to his daughter Morgan, maybe becoming an Iron person. Maybe there was reference definitely, or possibilities of maybe if we do get another Avengers movie or another Iron Man movie, we could see Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. And obviously the big main person that he passed down the torch to was Spider-Man, and seeing him go through that coping situation he has in Far From Home. So we won't go too much into Far From Home, but basically that's where Peter Parker realizes he's got to not only be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but he's got to also be an Avenger, and him kind of maturing and growing up. great. I think that was fantastic. So you have that. And you got Captain America. Sure. Don't think so. Oh, okay. I thought that was towards me. I was like, what are you talking about there, Brandon? I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know if that'd be a possibility unless Marvel decides, hey, we're gonna bring back Thanos, but I don't see them bringing back Thanos. They've been really specifying that, hey, you guys like Thanos, right? We're not gonna have Thanos. I'm fairly sure that Infinity War arc is over for them. Yeah, definitely. I don't see them bringing back the Infinity Stones, but there's other ways they can bring, like, say they can do the Infinity Saga or the Infinity Crusade over here. Wait, is that the Infinity Crusade or the Infinity Saga? No, that's the Infinity War. My bad. But there could be other ways you could do the Infinity Crusade, or if they want to do anything with the Infinity, like, what's the other one? There's another Infinity title that is big in the comics. I can't remember it. It did have to do with the Infinity Watch. It had to do with Adam Warlock. I don't see them using the Infinity Stones, but there are ways they can build a thing centered around Adam Warlock and also the other stuff. And I'll save that for maybe another video that I may or may not do live stream. I don't know. We'll see. I'm debating on it. But I do have an idea for something involving Adam Warlock and specifically Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So we'll see. But let me see. Back to kind of where I was going a little bit. Give me a slight second here. Captain America. So he doesn't technically die, but we kind of assume that he's dead because at the end we see him return the stones, but he decides to have that family life that Tony Stark was talking about. That he's like, hey, he had a wife, he has a kid, let me have that thing. So he decides in that process of delivering the stones back, he decided to go back to Peggy Carter, go back to 1940s, maybe to settle down a little bit, have a relationship with Peggy, and have there be obviously they become married sort of thing. And obviously we see him later on that we see him in the present. Now he's old. So I like how, even though specifically, sure, Brandon, I can stop for a moment. I mean, I don't have a specific time on how long I want to do this, but like I said, I can go back and forth here and there. And then Steve Rogers going back to Peggy. Why is that? I'm curious, actually. Do you think Cap should have stayed in the present? Without having to go see Peggy there, Brandon? I thought it was mad fucked up. She was married. She had kids. Well, I don't think they necessarily confirmed that she had kids. Oh yeah, never mind. I retract from that. Never mind, Brandon. I retract from that because she technically has a niece. What was her name? Shannon Carter. Well, let's see. And then he went back and took that. Well, that's a fair point. You're not wrong about that. However, I feel like they obviously wanted to some way cap off Steve Rogers' arc, and however else to do it, then kind of saying, we built this movie, and then they probably decided, what if we had Steve's character have that sort of family thing that Tony was talking about, that life of settling down and stuff like that. It's a nice gesture, but it was still fucked. Well, like I said, a good point, but you kind of at least I respect what you're saying. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean, Brandon? But that's cool. That's what I'm trying to say. It's obviously I get what you're saying, but you understand that not only how I kind of feel about that moment, because that is kind of very sentimental and even just in some aspects, and just for not audience sake, but obviously for the movie goes and for the character arc, obviously kind of because obviously if you go back to the first Avenger, he doesn't come back. He doesn't have that dance with Peggy Carter because he's obviously going down that plane and into the ice, and he's on the basically on the breaker on the radio with Peggy, and he's like, I think we might have to call a rain check on that dance, and you see her in tears, and he doesn't see Peggy for ages until he sees her die in Civil War, and that's kind of heartbreaking to see and not have that sort of relationship with her, because that was his dame. That was his whatever 40s term you want to use, basically whatever 1940s term you want to say. But that was his lady. He didn't want to see her go out like this, and he kind of felt bad, at least from what I think in some cases. So There's that, but also wait, I thought she died. It was Winter Soldier or Civil War. They had a funeral in Civil War, I remember. Because he's there. It's, obviously, Steve Rogers is there. Natasha's there because she was like, "Hey, I wanted to go see you, check on you, and all these things because I want to see how you're doing." And obviously, he sees Shannon Carter, Peggy's niece. Yeah, Peggy's niece. I remember. But yeah, it was like Winter Soldier, Civil War. I'm pretty sure it was Civil War because it did have a funeral, but I could be wrong. I might be wrong. But somewhere in those movies there, Brandon. So not only did he have the life that he wanted, but at the end, obviously, we see him old, and he's got that wedding ring, and even Falcon's like, "Hey," he's like, "You gonna tell me about her?" And he's like, "Nope." He's like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, it's all right. I don't have to tell you shit," basically, which is kind of funny, but in that moment, obviously, he's like, I finally, not that he reached enlightenment, I guess, in a way, but back to what I'm trying to get back to is we have the shield, obviously. He hands Falcon the shield, which is awesome. We get this, this is teasing that we're going to see Falcon, Sam Wilson become Captain America. And I'm not going to lie, obviously, that's pretty cool because they've done that in the comics, and there's a great story with how Sam Wilson becomes Falcon and kind of the first African American Captain America, and also one of the very first African American superheroes within comics in general and the Marvel universe. So it's kind of cool to see that. But I feel like this was like very subjective in a way, like him handing him the shield, because I feel like this is not specific, like this is specifically direct to Sam Wilson, but also I feel like this is obviously for like, hey, like basically you and Bucky are Captain America. Like the mantle of Captain America will still be with you guys. Like no matter who's Captain America, both of you will keep that mantle going. And then obviously giving us the later on Falcon and Winter Soldier show, hopefully happening soon. I don't know when that's going to happen yet because Disney Plus and their original shows, they've kind of like put them on hiatus. And I don't know if they've canceled them or if they're going to delay them or what. So I know technically Winter Soldier and Falcon was supposed to come out this year. And I think WandaVision was. And then like stuff like Loki and What If and Moon Knight and She-Hulk and Miss Marvel were supposed to come out like 2021, 2022, etc. So I don't know what that means for the shows, but obviously them giving us those possibilities of that, hey, we're going to see more of the Winter Soldier and Falcon in a show. And I want to say this real quick. I want to say this on a side note real quick, and then I might get back to what I'm trying to truly say about the mantles, passing down the torch, is I kind of wish, a part of me wishes I had started YouTube back in 2016, because I want to say this here and I want to say this now, is that when Civil War was coming out in theaters and it was being announced and all these other things, and there was any mention of a villain, I thought to myself, if they don't have a villain, that's fine. But if they do throw in a villain, it would be cool to see Baron Zemo. So when Civil War came out and I watched it, and then this dude shows up out of nowhere, this German, like Russian Soviet dude shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, "I'm Zemo." I'm like, Baron Zemo, and he's one of my favorite Marvel villains. So that was really awesome to hear, and the fact that he kind of subtly pulled strings around this whole Civil War moment was genius. I thought that was really great. So after watching Civil War, I thought, they're not going to get rid of him because he's not dead. And I'm like, he's got to come back later on. And then the San Diego Comic-Con drops and everything, and the Winter Soldier Falcon, and then Daniel Brühl comes back, and then he's Zemo, and I was like, I knew it. And it's moments like that if I started YouTube back in 2016, I could have said, like, maybe like a Civil War review saying I would call out like, hey, this won't be the last we see of Baron Zemo. Flash to 2018, 2019, boom, called it. And I wish I did something like that. But like, I kind of like thought of that, and I feel like even though Marvel didn't know of my well, actually, Marvel doesn't care probably about my channel, but even though whether Marvel cared about my channel or not, it's not like they would have known about, hey, this kid, he knows about Zemo. Okay, we'll do some of Zemo. But it's just one of those cool things that would have been sweet. But just a little random note, just I wanted to say for a second. But so obviously but back to the passing of the torch. So we obviously see that through the symbolism of the shield and from Captain America to the next. And with Thor, although he doesn't die, we do see him kind of pass down the torch to Valkyrie. So that's another, I think, symbolistic thing I've noticed, because I rewatched Endgame for the third or fourth time, and I picked up a lot of other details that have happened, and a lot of other things I picked up as well. So one of the other things I picked up was, although Thor's not dead, we do see that he passes down the mantle to Valkyrie. So obviously, New Asgard being unearthed, and at the end, Thor goes to see Valkyrie, and he's like, you would be great as a leader of Asgard. So kind of like saying, hey, my time as ruling as Asgard, my time on Asgard's done, and everything. I've done what I need to do. My arc's done. I've had my struggles. I've had basically I've had family issues. Like my brother would backstab me. My father had lies and would tell like stories. And my mother was the only wholesome person I ever knew personally and had a connection to. So wrapping that arc up for him, and wrapping up all these things, like obviously Loki being dead, although technically there's a whole thing with what happens with the Battle of New York with Endgame, which we'll get into in a moment with like Loki obviously creating the Loki series, and that, hey, he survived. We saw him disappear during that whole like capture of Loki. So there's an altered universe where now Loki's alive. And obviously in our universe, he's dead. But him being supposedly dead, and then obviously his dad being dead, and having this sort of like I had a good relationship with my dad, but also the fact of he told things and kept things from us, and I never realized. And then, like I said, his only real personal relationship he had was his mother. So he's like, I'm done with Asgard. I'm going to go hang out with some dudes, or go hang out and do some stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And there's a reference. He says the Asgardians of the Galaxy because there's comics called the Asgardians of the Galaxy. They're like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but like Asgardian warriors. So think like the Destroyer armor we saw in the first Thor. There's like her name's like Angela, like daughter of Odin or something like that. There's like Thorog, like Thor Frog. Who else was there? I think Loki's in that team. No. He's one of the antagonists though. And there's other like people like Nebula and stuff like that. But he says a joke of like, yes, the Asgardians of the Galaxy. And then Star-Lord's like, no, do you not listen? But he's obviously passing down the mantle of rulership to Valkyrie. So now when we see Thor Love and Thunder, I hope we see more Valkyrie being more of a ruler of Asgard. But I want a quick second with the Thor going with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy are gonna be in Thor: Love and Thunder and all that other stuff. And like I've said before, I'll say it again. I'm excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. I like that. There's many aspects that they can go with it, and there's things of obviously Taika Waititi gonna direct it again and stuff. But I kind of wish that they did that in terms of release dates, that because Thor Love and Thunder has a 2021 release date, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as of right now, has a 2022 release date or a 2023 release date. And that pains me because I've been hyped for Guardians 3 for so damn long that, and everybody else has hopefully been hyped about it and been kind of curious how it's going to wrap up. And this is going to be their third trilogy and their final film for the Guardians. And we're not going to get it for another 5 years. Like, that kind of sucks almost. And I kind of wish that Marvel would just go, you know what? People want Volume 3 more than Love and Thunder. So what we'll do is we'll take Love and Thunder, put it, and we'll just switch them. So Guardians 3 will no longer have that 2023 release. It'll have that 2021 release. And then Thor Love and Thunder had that 2021 release, and it'll be 2023. I wish that Marvel would do something like that, but it's like, I hate that it sucks that we have to wait so long for another one. Sure, it leaves up for more speculation, more rumors and all these other things, but I'd like for Guardians to kind of happen sooner. It was technically supposed to be released for 2020, but then they were going to push it for 2021 with James Gunn leaving and Disney firing him and all these other things, and now it's at 2023, and it's kind of upsetting, So, but with the Guardians and Thor Love and Thunder, Thor obviously being with the Guardians now, whether he's going to be a full member or not, I don't know about that, because as much as that's going to be cool, if you're going to have Adam Warlock on your team for Volume 3. By the end of Volume 3, I feel like that, like if you have Thor and Adam Warlock on your team, that's basically two gods on your team. You need to get rid of one god. So I feel like Thor needs to leave by like Volume 3, and then have Adam Warlock be your one like OP character, because Thor's kind of pretty OP at this point. And but with him interacting at the end with the Guardians and their mission to possibly find a possibility of a resurrected or a past Gamora, because obviously we saw the past Gamora somehow is still alive, or are they gonna retcon that, say that, oh, maybe she just went back to her timeline and that Gamora is actually dead. Either way, they're gonna go on their next adventure. And I love how the banter of Star-Lord and Thor, of like who's gonna be the leader. It reminds me of kind of like when Tommy Oliver showed up with the to be with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and try to take like leadership while Jason was like, I'm the Red Ranger, I'm leader here, and Tommy's like, well, yeah, let's go with that, but let's do this, guys. And Jason's like, yeah, let's do this. I feel like it was like that sort of moment, like Thor's Tommy basically saying, yeah, I'm gonna lead, but yet Star-Lord's Jason, where he's like, but I'm the leader here, you know. And so yeah, so there's that moment I wanted to point out, and then obviously let's obviously point out the obvious. It was really, I think, surprising that Black Widow would have was the one that dies, and I think that scene is a lot better than what the deleted scene had, because with the original scene they had with Ronan and then Black Widow going at each other for the stone, like, okay, who's gonna die first? They're taking each other out one by one. It's funny banter a little bit throughout here and there, because Ronan's like, you've been a pain in my ass all this time, and then like swoops her and kicks her down, and then while he runs off, and then she shoots him with a taser dart. It's great, it's funny, but I think it's also really dramatic, because that cliffhanger, literally they're hanging on a cliff, and then one's gotta go, and you got like Ronan, Clint, obviously Hawkeye being like, I'm not gonna let go, and then she's like, you got to, and then that moment drops in the music, and just all the cues are perfect for it. So when I heard about the deleted scenes they had for Endgame, and they heard that, like, oh yeah, Black Widow, she does something better than what we did in the original cut, because she goes down fighting and it's really cool, and then she dies literally like while like about to fall off, and I'm like, okay, this sounds a little better. After watching the scene, I'm sorry guys, I'm glad you stuck with the original scene, because the deleted scene sucks a little bit. It's basically they're like the two of them like, okay, one of us has to go. And all of a sudden, oh no, ship comes in, it's Thanos and everything. They're like, somehow they found out, probably through Nebula, but oh, here comes Thanos. And then the ship comes in and they're like, all right, we need to take him out. Let's do it. You go on 3 and I go on 3. So they did their thing. And she's just like, pew, 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 pew. And then lasers just shoot her down. And it's kind of like, it just feels very like just underwhelming a little bit. So I'm glad they stuck with the original scene than this moment of her going, laser, laser again, and then just falls off. And there's like literally no music. And I get it, it's a deleted scene. They didn't have all the visual effects and all the scores and everything, but it just doesn't feel as strong, because I remember that moment. I was like, no! I was like, they can't get rid of Black Widow. I'm like, how are they going to do the Black Widow movie? And then I realized that it's going to be during Civil War or after Civil War. So I guess that makes sense. So technically ScarJo's career and her contract's not over. So I'm glad about that. But it was still shocking for me to see. And just it kind of does wrap her character somewhat a bit. Maybe we'll see more of her character, obviously, in the movie, Black Widow movie. And that maybe it'll make more sense of like, hey, she started out like this, and then she was like this, and then we see her end like this. So maybe it'll be more meaningful to her, because ScarJo always kind of felt like that, hey, I feel like my character's kind of got not so much big, like, not a lot of big possibilities, but there's some things they could do. So there's that. And I thought it was really sweet to see Jeremy Renner be Ronan. Not only is it like cool because, oh yeah, the comics, Ronan, the Hand, doing ninja shit and badassery and all, but it does make sense for now Hawkeye is now Ronan, because his family was snapped. He all of a sudden he comes out of his house and he's lost like basically his family. All his family's gone. He doesn't know what the hell happened. So he's like, you know what? I have nobody left. Therefore, just fuck, basically. type of moments. So he's got nothing else to lose. So it makes sense for both these two to kind of be like, you know what? Clint's going, I'm the one that should go. Nat's going, no, I'm the one that should go. Because they're kind of just at rough spots in their lives that it just makes more sense for each one why they should take the stone or why they should go. And this is obviously just like with Gamora and Infinity War, this was one that you can't bring back, and it was really hard. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah. But let's get into, well, you can't see him. Wait, can you see him? Hold on. One quick second. Let's get into the big green himself. No, you thought I was going to talk about Thanos. Not yet. I mean, I've talked a bit about Thanos, and he is one of my favorite Marvel villains, but we'll keep going back and forth about Thanos and all these different scenes. And like I said, at this point, there's no real main specific thread I'm going through. I'm just kind of going with the flow. There's no specific okay, when we talk about this person, then talk about this person, then talk about this person. I'm not going to talk about every single character, but talk about kind of the big ones that kind of have their main times to shine. And we'll get back to the sort of the Nano Gauntlet in a moment. So speaking of the Nano Gauntlet, we see Big Green, and it's really cool how it was weird that Infinity War that the Hulk wouldn't come out to fight Thanos after that big beatdown he had in the beginning. But it's a little bit fitting and everything. And sure, they didn't leak toys of that, hey, we were going to do this cool thing where the Hulk bursts out of the Hulk burster armor and just hauls ass and everything. And they didn't fall on it, which is fine. But I like the result of what we got instead, because we got this idea of Bruce is you know what? I've been tasseling with this idea that the Hulk's a curse and that this is bad, Hulk bad. So you know what? Hulk good. So instead of this analogy that I love that he says in Thor Ragnarok, which is he felt that he was always on the steering wheel. Bruce Banner was always on the steering wheel driving the car, and then Hulk just came out and just took the keys and threw Bruce in the trunk. And I love that analogy because it makes sense of the two of them going back and forth, like Jekyll and Hyde almost. So for once, Bruce says, you know what? I think it's better that we have basically you have both brains and the brawn. So brains and brawn sort of thing. It's cool because it's awful. Also means we have Smart Hulk, which is another Hulk we have, and there's what's his name? Mr. Fix-It, who's another Hulk, and we have who's also Grey Hulk. So it's kind of little references to there, kind of subtle little nods there, Easter eggs, stuff like that. And I think it was kind of neat that Hulk was the one that basically does the first snap. I don't think it would have made sense if he did the second one, unless he had a bigger of a compelling not rivalry, but a compelling thing against Thanos, because it made sense for Iron Man and Thanos to have that sort of almost that center that middle ground that they can share a little bit. Because in Infinity War, Thanos says to Iron Man, he says to Tony Stark, he's I'm not the only one that has seen things in my mind. I know of visions, I know of these prophecies, and I'm aware of you. And Tony Stark was also aware of Thanos. Therefore, Thanos was also aware of Tony Stark. And you even see in Endgame, when we see that scene where all the memories that our present/future Nebula has of all the Avengers, and then there's Gamora going who are these people? Ravagers? And Thanos is just Avengers. Because he knows the Avengers have been at his throat for a bit of some time. So it makes sense that he knows of the Avengers a little bit, even in 2014. Because obviously not only did he stop the Battle of New York, they stopped the Battle of New York, and that was technically Thanos who unleashed that Chitauri, but it kind of makes a little more sense, and therefore tying a little bit of loose ends and knots in a bit. So I don't think it would have made sense that Hulk did the second snap, because there wasn't really much of a personal thing between him and Thanos. Wait, between him and Thanos. Oh yeah, it's happening. I don't care. And if I have to hold both of these for this video, I do not give a shit. I will do it just for fun. And just not to flex or anything, but I do have a nice collection. I'm proud of some of them. And then even the ones I don't like, I still like their the figurines. I may not like some of the characters, but I like some of the characters, some of the figurines. like one thing I know this is gonna be bad to point out, but I have Jared Leto Joker. I'm not really a big fan of Jared Leto Joker, but um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't like Jared Leto Joker, but I thought his figure was at least cool. Some of the merchandise is cool. So yeah. Um, so it would have made no sense if all of a sudden Hulk does the second snap against Thanos during that big battle. Damn it, I'm losing Thanos' head. I hate when this happens. You gotta be careful with these guys because their springs will like start like turning a little bit. So let me kind of put Thanos over here for a sec. Yeah, he works fine. And then Hulk, Big Green will go. He'll go back here. He'll go by Doctor Strange by my clock here. Anyways, but it was neat to have him take the nano gauntlet at first because there is a small connection that he's kind of was the only person that could have handled that sort of power and all 6 of those stones at the same time because no one else probably wouldn't have taken it. I mean, like if we saw Tony Stark first do the snap, he would have been dead. We would have had no Tony Stark for the rest of the Avengers movie. Steve Rogers, probably the same thing. Thor doesn't feel that fitting, although it made sense because he killed his brother and he obviously went for the head, so therefore Thor should have gotten it, but I don't think he should have gotten the gauntlet, and then all these other things. So it feels the more sense because everyone else is basically technically human. Hulk, even though he's human, he's got obviously gamma in him, and I guess that has to do with the fact that he can handle such power. So somehow I guess he said something about the stones had a bit of gamma in them or something radiated. So it made sense that, hey, gamma radiated. There's like sort of like a purpose for me to do this. So it was cool. But back to speaking of the nano gauntlet, and the nano gauntlet is actually cool. I wish I actually had the physical nano gauntlet or just the Infinity Gauntlet in general. If only Marvel could supply me with shit like that, that'd be great, and I would sponsor you guys. But no, not yet. We'll see. We'll see who comes to me first, Marvel or DC, Disney or Warner Brothers. Who's open? If I get enough viewers and subscribers, who will sponsor? Who will want to come to me first? Warner Brothers, Disney, someone. But anyways, I think it was very fitting that Tony took the nano gauntlet and was the one that does the snap and sacrificed himself, because I feel like the writers were like, you know what? We have to give someone a time to shine, to sacrifice themselves and do the snap and do that moment of like that sort of like, oh, here's Thanos going, I am inevitable. Snaps his fingers and he doesn't have the stones. But yet we have said Avenger has stones and he does snap and then dies, sacrificing himself and capping off the final thing. I think it makes more sense that Tony Stark did it because, like I said, he started this saga and he ends this saga, and it just everything that he kind of says in this movie makes sense, kind of foreshadowing like I need some time to rest, and then flashing forward to Pepper saying you can finally rest, and there he is all scarred, he's blood and bruised, he's just dying, he's on his deathbed basically, so it makes sense for that moment. So I feel like when the Russo brothers wrote in that, hey, we gave like, not that Iron Man got fan service, but kind of in a way. So they're like, all right, we gave Iron Man fan service. What do we do for Cap? Okay, so since Iron Man's going to take the gauntlet, Captain America needs to take Thor's hammer, which was pretty awesome. And I think we all knew that, a part of us knew that Cap was worthy of the hammer. For many, obviously, we saw in Age of Ultron, he slightly lifts it. Thor's like, oh shit, like he actually can do it. But obviously that was just a fluke and there was just a tease. So by the time we see Endgame, we see that hammer go, it catches it, and Thor's even like, I knew it. It was just so awesome. And it was so cool. It was really cool. And sure, technically Captain America probably couldn't handle Mjolnir, but it makes sense that he's able to, because sure he's human, and that it made sense that even when he had the hammer and probably fighting it and using the lightning, because obviously with the lightning, it obviously is attached to the hammer. So if you have the power of the hammer, you're obviously going to be able to conjure up lightning. So So it made sense that he's got like bruises, is kind of like bleeding a little bit. He's kind of a bit in pain from doing that. But although and that's probably that made sense of that he was human. But he was able to wield such power and not die from it, because technically, I think I've heard some people say that like that would have killed Steve Rogers, but because I think it had to do with the fact that his suit. I think it had to do with he's not Cap's kind of not that he's immortal, but he's kind of got endurance to him. So with the super soldier serum, and his endurance, it makes some sense that he's like, I can handle some like power that like cosmic power that even a human can't handle. So he's like in that middle of like he's not fully human, but he's not fully like immortal. So in that middle ground, that makes sense. Plus, I feel it would have been the same results if Captain America's did the snap. I don't think if let's do it this way. If you switch the roles, if Captain America did the snap and Iron Man had the hammer, it'd be cool, but it wouldn't feel as strong because Tony never really showed that much worthiness in Mjolnir, but Steve has, obviously. So they were like, you know what? Swipe. Because I feel like if Steve Rogers had the nano gauntlet, it would have been the same exact results, him dying. And obviously, like, instead of saying I'm Iron Man, he would probably have said, like, I can do this all day. And there you go. So that's really cool. So keeping in track in the theme and keeping in line with the whole epic scene, let's just keep going with that moment alone. That obviously that battle was really awesome. We got some really great moments from that scene. The opening of the portals on your left, obviously the Mjolnir, a lot of cool shots of like Thanos getting swat at and hit. Just obviously that the folly of that ship, the Chitauri, all those like weird four-armed symbiote aliens, and keeping like basically doing like a really like intense game of keep away with the Infinity Gauntlet, and how like, oh, past Thanos has come back. So you're probably thinking to yourself, wait, how the hell is Thanos in this fight when we saw Thanos die? Well, due to the fact that Nebula was a spy, she found out about her present self. So past Nebula found out about her present self that, oh, you're with the heroes. We can use you. So they swap disguises. They find out that Nebula finds out the technology, the Pym particles that they were using to go from like time travel to time travel using the quantum realm, and then therefore Thanos got a hold of the particles, and past Thanos got a hold of particles, and boom, we have Thanos showing up again. And so yeah, we have those moments. We see like funny enough, after watching it a third time and I'm seeing, I think, a video someone talked about, there is you can subtly see Howard the Duck walk in with a gun. It's crazy. I didn't I thought it was really hilarious, to be honest. Because I didn't see that until the third time around, because I saw this movie twice. I saw this movie twice in theaters, and I was damn lucky to see it twice in theaters. And it was just really awesome both times. I got to see it with someone special when I first saw it. It was really awesome. I had a blast. It was a great laugh for me. It was a great tear for me because it was emotional for me. It was really upsetting for both me and the person I was with, obviously. And that's as much as far as I'm going to go with it, because never mind. But anyways, so I had a blast with it. I laughed, I smiled, I cried at it because it was just emotional, just having these moments, and even just seeing everybody go, and then Tony dying, I teared up a bit. I was shocked to see Black Widow die. Obviously this is that big epic scene. I was like in awe. I was amazed. I was like almost like you almost feel like you're a kid in a candy store. Like you're getting giddy seeing your favorite like heroes and your favorite character doing this and that, and just that moment, like when Black Panther, when all of Wakanda shows up, and then like the Valkyries flying in, and then like Scarlet Witch doing like her awesome shit, and Spider-Man. And it was so cool. And Doctor Strange having that moment of, we have 1,500,000 like attempts at this, and we only win at one shot. And that moment when he points to Iron Man, he's like, this is our one shot. This is our one chance. And I feel like in that moment, obviously Tony knew what he had to do. And I think that's what makes the sacrifice is also even more emotional because Strange is like, you know what? Here's our one chance. And then at first he tells Tony, and he's like, what, so how do we win? He's like, if I told you, we wouldn't be able to win. If I told you what would happen, you wouldn't believe me, and we wouldn't win. So in that moment, he goes, this is our shot. Tony knows what he has got to do. And it's really great. So just like I said, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the Guardians are back. Everyone has their own, like everyone gets their own unique screen time. It's pretty good of how everything is. All right, who the hell is spamming me? Just kidding. Let me see here. Give me one moment. I'm getting stuff here. As I'm doing this, here's a moment to pause and kind of thank our sponsorship. Insert Raid Shadow Legends maybe for an ad. I don't know. I doubt I'll ever get ads on my videos or my live streams or anything like that. So I needed kind of a brief situation. If you guys want to leave your suggestions, leave your requests, leave any comments, leave any questions as this is going on. We'll take a brief moment just to kind of like condense ourselves and stuff like that, because I'm not going to go on for 3 hours, but it's a 3-hour fucking movie. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. And there's so many things like I want to go into. Let's see. What else is there? Who else is blowing up my phone here? All right, that's done. That is done. Trying to get rid of things. Not get rid of things, but I'm just trying to be like, all right, that's done. That's done. Like basically notification after notification. All right, good, go. Stop. And thank you, thank you, Apple. I'm just kidding. That's not our sponsor. I'm kidding. But yeah. I'll look at that stuff later. But there. Anywho, we have. I thought a really subtle moment was the A-Force. Kind of like the sort of female Avengers showing up, and like all those women like uniting together, like Gamora, Nebula, Okoye, Valkyrie, Rescue, Scarlet Witch, Mantis, Captain Marvel. It was so awesome having all of them just have this one kind of cool moment. Not over like kind of making this an over big feminist thing, but just enough to say, hey, cool moment. You know, and even for you comic fans, A. Like, okay, maybe not like A, but more like A. There, that's better. And I'm leaving that in. I don't care. And where was I at before that? Strange and Spider-Man. Obviously Spider-Man coming in, he's like, yo, you know, I didn't know what was going on. Like, we all of a sudden disappeared, and Doctor Strange told us to do this thing, do this one thing, and it's gonna be so cool. And then he just gets a hug, and he's like, oh, this is nice. And it was just so cool. It was just so comforting. It was like, aw, you know, because he never got that hug. And he's like, and here's basically Iron Man going, hey, awesome, cool, like mature young adult kid, like my favorite young adult. It was so cool. Trying to remember. And actually, speaking of the deleted scenes, because there is a line in the deleted scene where they have Tony just calls Spider-Man my favorite young adult and hugs him, and he's like, that's cool, but you know what's really cool? It's cool that you're here. And he's such a dad. It was so awesome to have him have like this really cool like Spidey like Tony dad son moment, even though they're not really actually related, but you can tell that Tony is a big mentor as like a father figure for Peter Parker, and it was really sweet to have that. In one of the deleted scenes, they have the infamous. This is probably one of the most infamous deleted scenes in Endgame, which is take a dive, take a knee. And sure, they should have done that in the original cut. Yes. I don't know if that would have cut to the funeral, but the funeral is still heartbreaking. That moment where you see the little heart, the arc like reactor he has, and it's out in the river, and the "I love you 3000." That's just such a quotable line. I've used that many times before. It's so it brings me to tears sometimes. And this movie also really did a great job of a remembrance footage video of remembering Stan Lee, which I love to fucking death, honestly. And I'll say this before. I've said this about this one person or another, but I'll say this about Stan Lee, because Stan Lee created heroes, but Stan Lee is the legend. And although he was like 90 something, 80 something, it really hurt me when I heard that he died. Honestly, I know some people might argue that, hey, he was very old and stuff like that. He was suffering through things, but even when you're at your oldest, you don't want to see someone that has had a big part of your life pass away, whether it's a family member or just an inspiration. And sure, like Marvel and Stan Lee really isn't much of an inspiration, but to me, but he's inspired many like heroes that we can now relate to, and we have all these characters because of this man. He's such a fucking legend. It was just really tragic to really hear that he died, and his cameo is really hilarious, and it's makes no sense, but it's so fitting. And how Stanley always saw his cameos as not as cameos, but he saw them as supporting roles, that he was supporting these movies, and that he was bringing kind of like he's the one thing that's kind of connecting these universes together. And it was just such sentimental to it. It's so awesome, honestly. So, and this movie is just a really great film. Not only does it have great moments and shares great scenes with great acting, great writing, breathtaking visual effects, that at this point you're like obviously you're thinking to yourself, everything is real here. Okay, maybe not everything is real, but you get the idea that they're like, obviously they give you the idea that this is not an illusion. This feels realistic. Like obviously, like you feel like that motion capture of Thanos and see like all that CG there. You feel that Thanos is right there on the screen. You don't think to yourself, there's nothing there whatsoever. Same thing with Rocky Raccoon. Same thing with Groot. Same thing with all these things like the portals, the skies, the spaceships, and all these characters showing up. You feel they're real. You feel they're there, obviously. But it's a really fantastic movie. One of my most recent favorite MCU movies. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies, but I'm not sure if it's like number one for me, because for me, my number one Marvel, like all-time Marvel movie would have to be the Avengers. I think still. It might be hard to say that now, but I still think it's the Avengers. Somewhere in there. Top 5 is the Avengers. Somewhere in. I definitely put Endgame somewhere like top 5 or top 10 in terms of like if I did like top 10 or top 20 Marvel movies or top 20 MCU films, I would have it somewhere in the top 5 or top 10 without a doubt. This was one of my favorite movies of the year and everything. It's just it's kind of hard just to it's hard to really kind of not nitpick about it. There's a lot of fan service, a lot of great moments, and a lot of cap offs, and a lot of send offs to many like characters and scenes and everything. It just really comes all together. The credits alone, although we don't get an end credit scene, which I think is fine, because sure, it would have been cool to see like, who's going to be the next big bad for Avengers like 5 or 6, where maybe we'd see something like Galactus. People are expecting Galactus to be the big bad. People are thinking maybe it could be, I think personally, besides Galactus, I think there could be like maybe the Beyonder, maybe Magus. Who else is there? Kang the Conqueror could be one. What's up, Jay Velocity? We're going into a big deep dive, like cut, sort of full length, long talk, live movie review of Endgame. So there's that. But there's all those characters. You should check this certain YouTuber. I'm curious now, because I don't know that many YouTubers personally, but I do know a lot of people. He posts Avengers content. Okay, cool. I've seen different people post Avengers content. I don't know them personally, but I'm trying to think, who do I know off the top of my head? Comic book cast, Soups or Sups or Supreme or something like that. His name is, I can't remember. Trying to remember who else is there. There's like Wonder Cosmic or something like that. Who else posts Marvel content or Avengers content? Screen junkies, but like on occasion because they've been like doing their live things like that. Um, trying to think here, and who's damn it, people. Well, thank God I'm not like super famous. Well, not yet. I will be, but that's another story for a moment. I'll check that later. It's fine. I thought it was like something like super urgent. I was like, all right. Well, not that it's not that it isn't urgent, but I just wanted to check. One of his vids is who else do I know off the top of my head? I don't think it's anyone that I'm gonna guess, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Who do I know that covers Marvel content? Trying to think. I can't. That's the only ones I can think off the top of my head. Chris Hemsworth being a child for 5 minutes straight. Oh, those types of people. They do like not like meme stuff, but sort of like little funny little bits. Like I saw this one video of it's like 10 minutes of no 10 minutes or 20 minutes of Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff being acting like a romantic couple. Every like scene of Tony Stark being the insult king. So whenever he like makes a reference to someone, like he calls Thor Point Break, he called Drax Mr. Clean, he calls Star Lord Flash Gordon, stuff like that, little insults like that. He called Winter Soldier Manchurian Candidate. Oh, which by the way, speaking of Tony and his little like the insult king right there. I love how in that like moment when we hear like the songs because even though this is an Avengers movie, they still add like elements that feel like a Guardians film kind of thing. Because like in Infinity War, we hear that sequence with the Guardians, and then they're playing Rubber Band Man. They're playing by the Spinners, I think they're called. I think it's Rubber Band Man by the Spinners. I think there's the band, but they're doing the whole like do 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 do. You get it. Never mind. Forget it. But yeah, that moment when the Guardians show up, the little introduction with the Rubber Band Man, they're singing along like, "Here you prepare yourself for the Rubber Band Man." So yeah, that moment. They throw in some songs, and one of my favorite ones is when they throw in the Rolling Stones' "Doom and Gloom." And you have Fat Thor, and I'm not gonna make a big deal about it because it's Fat Thor, honestly. And although he looks cool when he like also he's got like all of a sudden he goes from like sloppy like hair and dreadlocks to all of a sudden like Mjolnir and Stormbreaker come, and he's just like boom, like his hair's braided and everything and shit. And I'm like okay, that just happened apparently. So but back to the moment where he's like big and fat. He's got like the red like sloppy like bathrobe on. And he's like coming in with a beer and shades. And then Tony is like, on your left here, Lebowski, and he calls Rocket Ratchet, which made me think of Ratchet and Clank. I don't know if that was intentional, but as soon as I heard Ratchet, I was like Ratchet and Clank. So yeah. He calls Rocket a Build-A-Bear. And it's just writing like that it's great to see like each different character interact off of them differently and how they would be. And bringing their personalities just obviously to a different character. Like we've seen Tony's personality with like Steve Rogers and with how he's a Spider-Man, but we've never seen it work off with other characters like these newbies in a way, which is a little side thing like that. But I think it's kind of subtle, and I think it's very like fitting that they throw in some of these songs like Doom and Gloom. Not that it has much meaning to it, but it's very catchy. It's cool. It's Rolling Stones. It's very like 80s, 90s, probably stuff like probably the Avengers and the Guardians would know, like in terms of bands and songs like that. The beginning of the credits of Endgame, we hear "Dear Mr. Fantasy." I think that's very the most fitting out of all of them because it's like kind of like not a send off, but it feels like a very fitting send off song of like here's your say like kind of in a way like the song. If you kind of connect it to the movie, Dear Mr. Fantasy is kind of like Iron Man, and that it's kind of like everyone, whether it's the fans, the audience, the rest of the characters, the story saying, hey, Dear Mr. Fantasy, aka Iron Man, play us your tune. Like basically, this is your Hail Mary, this is your saving grace. Make this your biggest moment ever for you. And it went out fantastic and with a bang. It was great. Supersonic rocket ships just kind of like cool, calm down, like kind of chill moment. And I think there's like one more. I think. Is there one more song? I can't remember, honestly. They had like 3 or 4 songs in the so-called soundtrack. Well, I mean, it is a soundtrack. I don't know why I did quotations. But whoever this guy is, Velocity, I will check it out. Sure, without a doubt. Maybe we'll see. Probably. I don't know. I'm debating. But yeah. What else? What other things do I have in my mind? My mind's kind of scattered a bit. But yeah, it's kind of really hard to nitpick this film for many things. Um, What else was I going to say? I'm trying to remember what else I was going to say afterwards. Well, I do want to say one thing real quick. It has no, like, there's no, like, this isn't like, okay, here and goes there, it goes there. One thing I do want to point out, one more thing with Thanos. Actually, you know what? I would bring in the Endgame one, but just to kind of show off more, like, stuff I have. Christmas Thanos. Yeah, look at this guy. I like Josh Brolin as an actor. I think he brings great talent. I think he's fantastic as Thanos, and he really brings that mocap to life. It's almost as equivalent in terms of like the prestige and how emotion and how much features and detail and every little emphasis in the words and just the captureness and the effects are almost as captivating as Andy Serkis as Caesar from Planet of the Apes. That's how great Josh Brolin as Thanos, in my opinion, is. And just as a villain, I like Thanos a lot for many things. And I liked Thanos as a villain way before Infinity War, way before Endgame. He was one of my favorites because I remember reading the Infinity Gauntlet novel before any of these movies happened. I remember sort of this shit, and I was like, Thanos is so cool. He's so powerful. And then kind of realizing this sort of mentality that a villain would have in terms of conquest kind of makes sense to him. But yeah, just want to show off Thanos for a moment. Feel like I give a few visualizing things here and there. Since this is a live stream, it's kind of going to be a bit hard to edit this. And honestly, you can't edit a live stream. Even if I put this on Adobe, one, it's going to be hard as hell to do. And two, you can't do it from YouTube Live. And three, this is off my laptop because I tried using my phone to live stream one time, and I need like over 1K subscribers in order for that to happen. And you know what? I'll show you guys right here, right now, just to demonstrate. So, just to show you guys real quick how pain in the ass YouTube is. I don't know why it is, but because it is. And I don't know why my phone won't unlock. There we go. So we're gonna go to YouTube. We're at the YouTube app. Okay. So yeah, you can see my thing right there. Sweet. That's cool. But I chose that thumbnail, obviously. But anyways, so we go to the little cam, and you see obviously there's live and there's record. So we go to live, and look, read that shit. This is what I gotta deal with sometimes, people, and it sucks. Because I would have done this so much better on my phone. I would have done this a little bit better. That's why if the quality is a little bit weird and a little wacky and a little bit wanky with it. But yeah, so it says eligibility if you couldn't read it. Eligibility. Your channel does not meet our updated eligibility requirements for mobile live streaming. You can still stream with your webcam or broadcasting software. So I hit OK. I go to live again. I go to learn more. And I'm going to open up Safari. And here's what it told me. So we go to here. Let's see. For the latest update on how we're addressing the coronavirus situation, please, okay, whatever. Then it says create a live stream on mobile. So it says requirements. To live stream on mobile, you'll need at least 1,000 subscribers. Once you get 1,000 subscribers, you may have to wait to get access to mobile live streaming. No live streams restrictions within the last 90 days on your channel. And to verify your channel, an iOS 8+ device. So, thank you, honestly. And if you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic. And honestly, I don't see YouTube coming after me. If they do, I'm sorry. But if YouTube comes after me, I'm sorry. I doubt they will, but if they do, I'm sorry. If you could fix that, that'd be nice. But if that's a serious requirement, then it would be a little bit nice if like your algorithm kind of didn't like screw up my channel, because I feel like the algorithm on a quick note about YouTube for a moment. I feel like their algorithm, and I've said this before in a live stream, like my last live stream, their algorithm kind of screws up my channel because I know someone that's in the same predicament as me. Two people actually that are in the same predicament as me. They're students in high school. They have YouTube channels. They just started, and they've done like at least 100 to 200 videos, and they have 200 to 300 subscribers. And here I am doing the same shit that they're doing, but I have 80. So I feel like there's something screwed up in their algorithm that makes no sense whatsoever. So if YouTube ever comes sees this, I really truly my apologies. But if there's a way that you guys can maybe like fix things, that'd be nice, honestly. And I wouldn't seem such like a stickler. And I'm not trying to be like a stickler. It's just me just thinking out loud and just being like, kind of like, what the hell do I do really? But yeah, so that's why it's on here on this camera quality. But like I said, with Thanos, I was saying, I've liked him before the MCU movies came out. Well, actually, I've liked him. When did I get Infinity Gauntlet? I got it years ago. I remember. Real quick. So, that was my first exposure to Thanos, and then the mentality that he has is a bit fitting, even though it basically is genocide. But it kind of makes sense in some cases because if you think about it, without order, there's no chaos, and without chaos, there's no order. It kind of falls into that sort of like circle of life, because without life, there's no death, and without death, there's no life. Because once something dies, something is reborn. Once something lives, it will eventually die. And kind of going that mentality. I don't have that sort of process thinking, but basically, if you were to be in Thanos' shoes, that's kind of how you have to think about it. And it's kind of, and yeah, it's scary to think like that, but and it's scarier that you can relate to the villain. But we all have those villains that we can relate to, whether we have inner dark sides or not. You can definitely understand where a guy is coming from. And even sometimes villains, although they have like these twisted, twisted personalities of them, they do have a morality. They do have a moral code almost. Like, not necessarily Thanos, but one specifically, Killmonger, obviously he does all this crazy shit just to basically give give technology out to the world. But in his defense, he does think, hey, I was like in the world, and where was Wakanda when we all had like these terrorist attacks and these world wars, and we could have used these advancements and these technologies? Where were you guys during these times, And he kind of wanted things to be a little more peaceful. And I think that kind of goes with Thanos a little bit. He wants things to be more peaceful, a little more in balance. And obviously that life and death sort of thing circle of life thing I just did kind of does make sense. And it even makes sense for him because that moment when he sees the flash forwards, the memories of him all like scarred and burnt from basically the Infinity Stones killing him, they're all like his cult like leaders, what were they? Let me see if I remember. The Black Cult or the Black. Well, what was the group that like the worshippers of Thanos? I'm trying to remember their names, but one of them's like, what is this about? And then Thanos says, "Justice, destiny justified, and this is my destiny, and my destiny was to basically do what I accomplished. I finally won." And then when he sees him die, he's not like, "Oh no, like I'm dead." Like he's not scared that he's dead in the future. He's just like, that is destiny justified, because he's done. He had once he did that snap, once he brought balance to wiped out half the universe and brought balance to the universe. He's like, my work here is done. So honestly, I can just go into retirement and live peacefully and die. So technically, he got what he wanted. And in a way, him being killed, like I said, isn't a shocker to him. So there's that. And plus, what I really love with Thanos in both Infinity War and Endgame is how very quotable he is. Not only is his lines very they can be very somewhat funny because of the "I am inevitable," it's been memed and stuff like that, but his lines really do feel very justified and feel symbolic and strong, especially when delivered by Josh Brolin. It's really awesome, especially that moment when he says, you couldn't live without with your failures. So where'd that bring you? Back to me. Because you guys failed, because he's basically saying you guys failed to realize that I at least gave you guys life. I at least gave you guys this opportunity to say, hey, we screwed up, but we can thrive. We can adapt, evolve, live without what we've lost. But you choose not to live on and adapt and thrive. So therefore, if you can't live with half your universe gone, I'll take out your entire universe. So he's basically thinking, when I get that Infinity Gauntlet, all of you will be gone, and new life will thrive and forget all that has been left behind. A greater universe. That is some like really deep shit, honestly, to really think about. Not that it's like something to think about, but like how like it's delivered is just so well, so genius. But that's mainly all I can really think of, honestly. If you guys want to like leave some things here and there, I'm fine with that. We can maybe do like a small Q&A before I end things. So like I said, this is just really was a great moment to. This was a really great movie and really great thing to end off on. And the credits, you really see everyone that was kind of been on this big journey and seeing it kind of like end, even though like technically it's still gonna continue. Seeing this saga end was really emotional. Seeing all the credits and everyone lined up and everyone got their famous signatures and everyone got great moments and great little credits here and there, like with even the people that weren't even in this movie, like Clark Gregg and Samuel Jackson, they got credits. Tom Hiddleston was even in this movie, he got credit. Other people got these credits, like Colby Smulders, Michael B. Jordan. What else did they say? They said like all these different names. Michael Douglas. No, actually, Michael Douglas was in this movie. He had an interesting cameo, and I love the little the original comic book Ant-Man helmet he had in that what was it the 60s or the 70s they traveled back to at one point, because the Avengers after the time heist they lost the stone, they lost the Tesseract. They're like, we got the thing from Vormir, we got the orb, we got that thing, we got the Eye of Agamotto from the Ancient One, which was interesting. The fact that when she saw Hulk, he's like, wait a minute, Doctor Strange, that's not until like 5 years later. What do you think you're doing 5 years later, Mr. Banner? And explaining that, hey, look, you take a stone, that's going to screw up time. That's going to really screw up the universe. So all the stones need to be restored. So that's where Bruce was like, you know what? We'll borrow the stones real quick. We'll borrow the stones, use them, and bring them back to their times. And she's like, okay, cool. So they got all the other stones except the Tesseract. And they're like, all right, how the hell do we do this? All right, we go back to the 40s. We go back to the 60s. We go back to the 70s when S.H.I.E.L.D. had the Tesseract. And therefore, there we go. And then boom, bada bing, bada boom, bam. So yeah, bringing everything kind of full circle. So everyone really, and like I said, everyone really puts in their A game, and all the credits were fantastic. And just, I think this is going to really be an iconic movie of the ages. And I actually don't know what to say other than I think it's pretty obvious that this movie is like really like supreme, not supreme, but obviously it's obvious that this movie's awesome. So I'd say like an A+ right there. And although this has nothing to do with like, this isn't really too much of a nitpick for Endgame, but this is kind of like a little nitpick I want to say about the MCU is I kind of want to go on a little tangent on Captain Marvel. Now, at first when I saw Captain Marvel, like when it first came out in movies, like the movie theaters, I saw it, like I didn't see it in theaters, but I watched it obviously, and I was like, okay. I thought to myself, Brie Larson, she's getting like a lot of hate, and the fact that Marvel's like, yeah, this is gonna be a feminist piece and all these other things like feminism, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit awkward, and you can kind of tell in the movie it's there, it's really heavy and such. So when I first saw Captain Marvel, I was honestly like, Brie Larson has potential, and after watching Endgame 3 times, I can't stand Brie Larson. It's not that I don't hate Endgame for it. I hate Brie Larson just in general right now. And I see where the hate is now. Because here's the thing I want to say with what they do with Captain Marvel. I get it. Yes, Captain Marvel is very powerful in the comics. But when they announced that they were bringing Captain Marvel as their first superhero, like female superhero, to the universe next to Black Widow, that's gonna have her own solo movie, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have Captain Marvel. It's gonna be before Endgame, so that way, what we'll do is, so that way you get an idea of Captain Marvel, how powerful she is, and that she's gonna be like so powerful. She's more powerful than any Avenger in the world, and she's more powerful than Thanos. And I was like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. I would like to see this happen. And you kind of fall flat on it, and it's a little bit invigorating, a little bit like triggering, because she's overhyped as like this powerful new Avenger and everything. And one, she barely shows up throughout half the movie. And two, when she does show up, she shows up like a freaking Jesus bomb and basically tries to like one up everyone. Like here's Captain America going, Mjolnir, I have Mjolnir, and I'm like swinging my hammer, beating down Thanos, giving him a few drops of blood, and like beating him down and throwing thunder at him, throwing lightning. Thor, Iron Man, give him this big blast of lightning and this blast of all sorts of sonic waves and electricity and lasers and all sorts of power. Let me think, who else would there be? You got like literally like Hulk Hulk kind of punched him a few times. Giant Man, everyone's coming out, banging, destroying people. Giant Man just demolished a ship. And then she shows up out of fucking nowhere and just blows up her ship like, fuck you, I'm better than you guys. And it pisses me off because she's basically pulling off a Becky Lynch, like from WWE. And not a lot of you guys will get it, but I know someone in particular that will get that reference. And I hope if you're watching this, Jaden, you get what I mean. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is like Becky Lynch. She's trying to be like the man and trying to be like, haha, I basically beat you all and fuck y'all. And it's like, really? Like, where then? If you're all this powerful, one, where the hell were you in the beginning of the movie? Because she basically, her character in Endgame is, I saved Tony. You're welcome. Goodbye. And then comes back later and goes, I'm gonna kill Thanos. And then she doesn't kill him. Goodbye. And then during that whole battle with everyone and the Chitauri and that big fleet of ship and the Aether or whatever, the Astra or whatever that big ship is, and then obviously the followers of Thanos and these weird horde like faceless symbiote forearm freaks, and then obviously everyone's like chasing after the gauntlet and all this stuff is happening, and you show up like literally like 10-20 minutes in, probably like almost like to the point where the scene is almost over. Where the hell were you? Seriously, you could have helped out a lot. Where were you during the time heist? Where were you during these meetings when they were like, okay, let's get the Infinity Stones? You know, like does she even know about the Infinity Stones? Is she aware how powerful they were? Does she? And now, and 3, 4, wherever point I'm at this point, she comes in, hauls ass at Thanos, and she's like, haha, I got a force field on. What are you gonna do, bitch? And then she gets knocked down the face, 1 count, 1 punch. And it's like, and you're more powerful, how? And I saw Scarlet Witch almost tear Thanos in half, and she's more fucking powerful than you. And, you know, I was gonna say she's more hotter than you. Well, actually, she is. Elizabeth Olsen's actually a little bit more prettier than Brie Larson. But I'm not gonna say anything, to be honest. Just, I'll have a moment for a second. But in all seriousness, I'm going to compare those two for a second. Because Scarlet Witch does more shit and has been in more scenes and has done more things than that shows she is capable of leading the Avengers or leading a female team more than Captain Marvel. Because obviously she was a supporting role in Age of Ultron. She had a semi-role in Civil War. And she has a small purpose in both Infinity War and Endgame. And she has a better character arc within those 4 supporting roles than this one big star in this one movie crashing down. It mind boggles me a bit, honestly. And I get it. If you like Captain Marvel, that's fine. And I'm not trying to say anything against feminism. I mean, if you support it, it's whatever. But it's just sometimes it goes too far. Sometimes and I feel like Captain Marvel takes it too far, almost as bad as Ghostbusters 2016. And I will go there. I'm sorry. That's how kind of like annoyed I've been at Captain Marvel, because literally, even when I first saw the movie, she shows up and I'm like, I screamed, "Where were you?" Like, she all of a sudden shows up and just gets knocked one punched by Thanos, and it's really upsetting because here's Marvel going, our most powerful Avenger is Captain Marvel, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, is she gonna like one punch Thanos and destroy him and knock him out, like for like eternity or something, or send him like give him a supernova Shoryuken or something that we've never seen before? And next you know, she just goes, all right, I have the gauntlet, here's Thanos, and then down for the count. But yet Scarlet Witch has done more shit than she has, and she has a better arc from going from this like this very like this not puppet, but kind of like from Age of Ultron to Endgame, she's gone from this sort of like person that's been misunderstood. Scarlet Witch, I'm talking about, obviously. She's gone from this misunderstood, like obviously character, has obviously just been trying to figure out what her powers are and her purpose and all these other things, and her arc with Vision. Although it's a chemistratic arc, a more romantic arc, it's adorable, it's sweet, but it builds her character, because you see that her change from Ultron to Vision to Ultron to Civil War. You see that she's kind of like, all right, that moment when she's sitting down with Vision and they're talking, because Vision's kind of like the thing that's kind of keeping her sane a little bit. And seeing in Infinity War, Vision's kind of the one thing that's kind of keeping her sane, kind of like keeping her together, that she's like, I feel actually in love, and Vision feels the same thing from her. And to see the one thing you love die is heartbreaking, and that is very relatable. To see the one person you love truly to death, that is your center of the world, your center of the universe, all of a sudden gone from your life, it hurts. It hurts you in the gut. It's a tearjerker. It really brings you, it tugs on your strings a little bit. So when she all of a sudden superhero lands in front of Thanos, and she's furious, and she's like, you took everything. And sure, it's funny that Thanos is like, I don't even know who you are. And she's like, you will be. You can sense there's tension. You can sense there's an arc, and there's like so much built up into her that when she lifts him up, you can feel the rage. You can see her like trying to rip him from the inside and just tear him shred to shred, limb to limb. And she does this. And what does Captain Marvel do? She shows up, blows up a ship, and then doesn't even do that much to Thanos, like in terms of damage wise. And the fact that it's funny how they basically, when they do the whole Air Force like lineup and wide shot, she's in the back, which I laughed my ass off the third time around. I laughed because I was like, you know what? I was like, you're a bitch for basically being this big, like, yeah, feminist and power, and I'm gonna be the man. And then you're just pushed in the back, like behind like Mantis, Okoye, Gamora, Scarlet Witch, Rescue, better developed female characters than you ever will be right now. And I am not looking for end. And if they put Captain Marvel 2 before any of these other movies, I'd rather see Ant-Man 3 than Captain Marvel 2. That's saying a lot, because honestly, Ant-Man was fun, and I thought Ant-Man and Wasp was cool. Even speaking of Wasp was in front of her ass, and it's funny because Wasp was like, you don't think that Wasp's like that powerful or that cool. You're like, oh yeah, sweet, Wasp. And then she's put in the freaking front. You're like, literally, she's small. She goes, whoop. She's like in front of Captain Marvel. It's so funny. Honestly, it's unintentionally funny. Oh my gosh. But I don't hate the Endgame for it. It's just one little thing I don't like with the MCU, because they really built her up, and it's kind of like been so disappointing. But overall, I do love Endgame a lot. I love it a ton. Like I said, I saw this movie twice in theaters, and I never get that experience that much, because it's one thing when you watch a movie multiple times, like on your TV screen, watching it on TV, watching it on DVD, stuff like that at the comfort of your home. It's nice. Watching it online, it's nice. It's comforting. You don't have that experience of like, oh, you don't have to worry about people talking and the texting and the calling and those things and stuff like that. You can kind of just enjoy it to yourself, or just whatever, have that sort of like your own personal experience. But excuse me. It's better, but there's something about, not that it's better, but there's something about going to see a movie more than once in theaters. And I've seen many people do it before. And it's not that super special, but I'm always kind of curious what it was like to kind of like go see a movie a second time and experience it differently. Like after seeing it once in theaters, is it still as good in theaters the second time around? I wanted to do that. I was hoping to do that with Force Awakens. I loved seeing the Force Awakens in theaters. I wanted to go see it again, hopefully. If I was able to see the Rise of Skywalker in theaters, I would have wanted to go see it again in theaters. Most likely for my other reasons why I want to go watch Rise of Skywalker again. But my point being is that there's something about watching a movie second time viewing, third time viewing in the theaters, because you kind of maybe you pick up things more differently. Maybe you think, maybe you're like, okay, maybe this isn't as good as I remember, or you're still like, wow, this is still amazing. And the second time around, it was really awesome again, and it was worth it. Sitting through 3 hours, sure, it was a pain, and you're sitting through 3 hours, and you're like, okay, is there ever a bathroom break? Is there ever a moment you pause, like they pause for a second just so you can go, okay, we'll pause the movie. You guys go get your drinks, go get your food. You have to sit there for 3 hours. And honestly, when I saw it the second time, I didn't realize how fast it went by. I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, we're at the time house already. And I was like, wow, I was like, that's happened pretty damn fast. I didn't realize how long I was sitting there. And like I said, I had great experiences with both times, and it meant a lot. And I felt this was very fitting to review this movie and talk deep dives and depth, and also the other things about it, because this week, from last year, from this week was the week that Avengers Endgame came out. So it's kind of like its 1 year anniversary. I figured let's talk about Avengers Endgame. And since Brandon gave me the idea of doing an awesome review live, I misled Lord Kelpo, thinking, oh, you should do it like Rushmore. I'm like, not Rushmore, Rush Hour. I'm like, Rush Hour. I'm like, why do you do Rush Hour? Then I looked back and I was like, oh, I get what he's saying. I could like do a movie review of Rush Hour. Okay, thought he wanted me to do it live, but all right. But when he gave me that idea, I figured since this was like near the end of April to the beginning of May, I figured I'd talk about this, because this it's perfect timing. And even though I didn't get to see it like the premiere of it, I saw it like it was like May 19th, I think. I still had the tickets. It was really great. I keep them somewhere personal and somewhere special, in my opinion, for personal reasons. And I had great experiences for both times. It was fun. It was really great. I was smiling. I smiled. I laughed. I cried. And you don't have to necessarily do that. You don't have to follow that exact formula when you go see a movie, or what to expect from a movie. But those are the main things I kind of had with my experience, and I did them both times. It was awesome, honestly, and I had great people to sort of see it with too. So that made things even better for myself, honestly. But before I wrap up, I figured I might as well talk about one other deleted scene I really liked the most. That would have really it wouldn't have made sense, but it really would have furthered Tony Stark and Iron Man as a character and as an arc. So, because how you're able to obviously, besides watching the getting Endgame on DVD and seeing it through the deleted scenes like extras selection. The other way you can kind of find these deleted scenes is, well, besides online, because everyone's leaking deleted scenes with like Rocket and Thor doing a deleted scene, and there's a deleted scene with everyone trying to battle like during the battle, and they're all lined up and they're all huddled up like football, like, all right, here's our plan. You go there, 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 you know. There's something with like berries, which I thought was kind of funny. There was something where John Cheadle's War Machine looks at Cap, and one deleted scene where he's like, you know, why didn't you just like why didn't you just get out of the plane? He's like, I was frozen. He's like, but it still doesn't make any sense. He's like, yeah, it doesn't. And they're basically poking fun of like loopholes. But the one that I think would have next to the scene of take a knee, the deleted scene that really they could have put in there was there's a moment after Iron Man does the snap and after he dies, he's kind of like in that weird like realm of reality that Thanos was when he first did the snap, and you see him like looking at young Gamora, and young Gamora's like, what did it all do? Like, wait a second. Nothing me barking at Pooch. Rare cameo by Buddy. Anyways, so kind of similar to what happened with Thanos and Infinity War, where young Gamora's like, did it happen? Like, what did it all take? And he's like, everything. Same scene, except here's Tony Stark. He's in this weird, obviously he's in that same reality, and he sees like a little dollhouse. He sees little teacups. He sees little chairs and table, and he sees like an adult. She's looking at him, goes like, says something like, hey, like everything will be okay. And he's like, do I know you? And she goes, yes, I was someone that you knew for quite a while, grew up with a little bit, and raised. And he's like, oh my gosh, Morgan. And he sees his little baby girl grown up. It's a tearjerker because this is his actual daughter, all grown up, future self, possibly teasing the idea of this actress being Morgan Stark, being like maybe a future Iron person. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. Maybe she'll take the mantle of rescue after Pepper Potts. We'll see. But the idea of that she's like, it was where Tony says, so what happens for me? Well, you don't make it out, but we try to do the best we can without you, and you did a good job. And they're both having this tearjerker moment. And it would have been nice to have something like that. It would have been really cool. Plus, it would have had more purpose, not more purpose, but kind of would have given this actress who did the deleted scene kind of be like, oh, okay, I'm in the movie, instead of being like, I was cut from the movie. That's kind of a little weird. It's kind of unfortunate, but I guess stuff happens. So let me think here. Actually, I think that's all I'm probably gonna say. Maybe there'll be other stuff we can cover just for a small Q&A. If you guys are in the chat somewhere, if you guys want to leave comments, leave suggestions, maybe just requests, maybe we'll do a small Q&A for it's like 1 now. So, well, depending on how long I want to go until, if nothing happens, then I'll just cut it here. If you guys start like saying, hey, like, and saying hi and all, then maybe we'll start a small little like live chat, and we'll maybe talk into stuff. Maybe you guys can leave like some comments on like if there's anything I missed. Am I gay? No, Brandon. All right, dude, I'm straight as a pencil. You should know this. But for real, you guys got, and do your parents know you're gay? Okay, can we not go into assuming I'm gay, Brandon? You know this, man. Come on. But if you guys have any questions about like if I missed anything I should talk about in terms of Endgame, then leave them in there, or anything else. But no, I don't know about that, Brandon. But yeah, I'm straight, dude. I'm gonna grab something real sec. Just you guys do your thing. I'll be back. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I feel like, wait, did you see the Boba? Wait, what? Did you see the BOFA in the background of the fight scene in Endgame? Bofa? Wait, hold on. Is this a trick question or something? Or is this something where it's like, hold on, where have I heard that from? Bofa. No, hold on. Bofa? What the heck is Bofa? Why is that familiar? I can't seem to think of what that is. Wait, no, okay. What the heck is Bofa? Why am I having a hard time thinking what it was? Oh, god damn it, man. We're joking. I feel like Patton Oswalt from Parks and Recreation. I just did like a freaking like big like filibuster, and I need like a Margot Rubio. Yeah, peeps, we're straight. We're cool. We're just joking. So don't take it too personal, honestly. If it ever gets that serious, you'll know when we're serious. But we're just joking around, so it's all good. As long as we can just joke around, respect one another, we're all cool. But you viewers would know when we're like really actually like pissed and like really mad, and yeah. But keep it fun, keep it. Well, I don't think it's there. There's no chance of keeping it clean at this point. So yeah. But I swear, for a second, I thought you were gonna say both of these middle fingers. That's why I was like both. I was like, wait. I was like, this is a trick question. And I was waiting for you to say something like both of these middle fingers. I'm like, yeah. But all right. Can't think of really anything else in terms of those deleted. Anything else? I mean, I said about those deleted scenes with the Ancient One. It just they use the same like writing, but just different scenes. Like instead of the Ancient One showing up in like yellow and she's like all prepared and she's got the Infinity Stone, she sees Hulk. Hulk tries to like break into the sanctuary, and she's like sitting there like on like a lounge chair, and she's like, "What do you think you're doing? Like you can't. If there was something you'd change in Endgame, what would it be?" I mean, the topic doesn't have to necessarily be Endgame, but if you guys want to keep it like that, that's fine. But I would probably. What would I? Well, I kind of would change a little bit of Captain Marvel. That's a straight fact. I think I'd do a little bit more with Captain Marvel somehow. Maybe whether it be deleted scenes or it be actually in the movie, like explore like where the hell did she go? Like she said that she went like around the galaxy trying to like basically help out the universe, for like restore it to itself, because not just Earth was like not just Earth's population was erased from existence, but other planets erased existence and stuff like that. So it would have been neat to see like maybe I don't know, other like new planets. Like where would she have gone? Like what the hell was she doing all this time? Seriously. And even when they first meet, like even when the Avengers first meet Captain Marvel, like Black Widow's like just ready calling her out like, where have you been all this time? Like, you could have helped us with the battle for New York, you could have helped us with Sokovia, you could have helped us with many things. So why show up now? And she's just like, I'm just here to kill Thanos. And it's like, okay, but what else? Like, what have you been doing? Have you been doing stuff with the Kree Empire? Have you been helping out Samuel L. Jackson? You've been helping out Nick Fury with the Skrulls, and what happened at the end of Far From Home with the Skrulls, and that whatchamacallit? Nick Fury is out in space for some reason now. Did you help him with that? Was that what you were doing? Were you trying to fix your planet with the Kree system or with the whatever she came from, that cadet system thing? Like, let's see, maybe some things like that. I would maybe add the future Morgan scene. What was the other one? I would maybe I'd have the take a knee be subjectual, I think. Like the idea of like maybe we should put it in. You know what? Maybe I think what I would do is probably put it in and then have it cut to the funeral, because I don't know if in the deleted scene it cuts to the funeral. That I know of, at least. Trying to think. Any changes. I just joke. Well, not as a joke, but would I give Thanos more screen time? No. I think he's got enough screen time. Sure, it's not as much as he got in Infinity War, and maybe we could have like done that, like have the screen time that he has in Endgame, but double it. But I feel like the screen time he has is fair. It's fair because we've obviously got a lot of him in Infinity War, and he's got a good amount as well. So, I don't think I would change the ideal of Iron Man taking it. I mean, Captain America taking the Nano Gauntlet, or I wouldn't change that. I would keep it still the way it was. But that's all I can really say. But if you guys want to keep doing the small Q&A, that's fine. If nothing happens for another, say, 10, 20 minutes, then I'll just call it off. I'll be done for the day, most likely. But I'm gonna move these guys real quick. This is kind of just kind of like chill for now. Because after going on this big talk for who knows how long, and yeah. So this is just kind of the part where we just chill a little bit if you guys want to do that. Nothing happens in 10 minutes, then I'll probably stop. If something happens within the 10 minutes, then least favorite. That's kind of hard. Least favorite. Actually, I have a least favorite moment, sort of ish. Like it's funny, but I sat there and I snickered at it. When Korg and Meek are playing Fortnite, I was like, really, Marvel? I was like, Fortnite? I was like, come on. I mean, I get it. Here's Thor like, hey, I'm drunk and I'm fat and all these other things and stuff. And then he calls on the little game thing like, noob master, I'm going to beat you ass and then shove it up your ass and all these other things. And I'm like, I'm laughing. But as soon as I saw the Fortnite, I was like, oh, God. I was like, okay. I was like, fine. I was like, we'll do it. I get it. Sure. It's funny because Korg and Meek are like, yeah, we're just chilling with Thor and we're gonna just play some games, you know? And it's like of all games, Fortnite. Oh man. But if stuff happens in between, do you think Endgame really earned the spot for highest grossing movie? In a way, because well, let me think this through. The highest grossing movie before Endgame was Avatar. Do you have a movie that you believe is underrated? Oh my gosh. I there's a couple that I have that are very underrated. I'm trying to remember them. But if I remember correctly, Avatar was the highest grossing before Endgame, and then Titanic or something about Titanic. I remember. It was. Wait, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't remember all the highest grossing movies in terms of like order, but I know Avatar was the number one, and I do like me some Avatar. I don't like it as much as I do. I don't know. I haven't seen Avatar in some time because I know some people have kind of like gone on to say, well, Avatar's not as great as we remember it, sort of thing, situation. I don't know if I fall into that category still or not. I do like it visually. Do I think Avatar was supposed to be deserves to be highest grossing? I know this has nothing to do with Endgame, but do I believe Avatar should be the highest grossing movie? Probably not. But it banked so much money. Probably due to the visuals and probably because people probably saw it in 3D. Many people probably saw it in 3D and paid good ass money for it. That's probably why. But if we're talking like highest grossing compared to like Endgame versus Avatar, hands down. If we're talking like highest grossing in general, that's kind of hard because I can't think of a lot of highest grossing movies. I think there's The Dark Knight was one. I think one of the highest grossing movies. I think I can't remember them all, and I'm not. And I would look them up, but I'm too lazy. Joker? No, is Joker highest? No, I don't think Joker's highest grossing now. If it is, I'd be amazed, but I don't think it is. I know the Avengers had to have been one of the highest grossing movies. The first Avengers movie. Star Wars was probably up there, highest grossing. Terminator's probably up there. Maybe The Matrix. Trying to think what other movies would there be, but if we're comparing like Avatar and Endgame, then yes, I'd say it deserves it. If in general, I don't know, to be quite honest. There, but underrated movie. What do I think is very underrated? I think Megamind's kind of underrated. I like some might say it's overrated, but I think it's underrated. Is there a movie I feel like I reviewed a movie that's very underrated. I can't remember. What? Oh, hell yeah, it is. Wait, overrated or underrated, Brandon? Can't think here. Underrated. Yes, absolutely. Well, I wouldn't blame you if you said overrated, but I think it's really underrated. Because because when people think of DreamWorks, the first thing they think of in terms of best DreamWorks movies, people are all like Shrek, and I'm thinking to myself, Megamind, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon. Do you guys not remember those movies? Like, I get people why people like Shrek, but like those movies, in my opinion, did better than Shrek. Like Kung Fu Panda, I would put above Shrek. I would put How to Train Your Dragon without a doubt over Shrek, and I'd put Megamind over probably all of them. Well, maybe we'll see. What else is underrated? Shit. I'm trying to think. Megamind got a ton of love when it released, but after a month, the latest a year. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, it really did. Now it's loved because it's such a massive. I guess, but I don't love it just because it's a meme. I think it's really actually a great, solid movie. Not only does it do great fun of poking fun at movies and just superhero genre in general, but it does tell quite an interesting story a little bit, I guess, a villain's perspective in terms of like that sort of like dynamic of rivalry of Superman, Batman. I mean, not Superman, Batman. Superman, that sort of like rivalry of like Superman, Lex Luthor, Joker, and Batman. Like how one would do without the other, not the yin without the yang kind of aspect. Shit, I can't think of a lot of underrated movies. Well, at least in my opinion, a movie I believe is underrated is DreamWorks. Wait, are the 2D DreamWorks? Yes, Prince of Egypt, the Road to El Dorado. Those are great. I think those are really awesome. That's a good one. Yeah, that's awesome. Spirit, yes, thank you. I remember Spirit, Brandon. I have a VHS tape somewhere. I loved Spirit when I was younger. It was like I probably watched it like at least 4 or maybe 5 times when I was younger, like wee small. And I don't care. I said wee small. Holy shit. What's weird is I saw they had a Netflix series of Spirit, and I'm like, really? And I didn't watch it. I was just kind of like, really? Sinbad. I forgot about Sinbad. Crap. See, it's a movie that doesn't need direct dialogue to tell a story. That is true. I never realized that until like kind of like recently. I never realized. Obviously, I'm not gonna realize it when I was like 5 or 6, but looking at it now, yeah. Well, I could say Captain America: The First Avengers kind of underrated. I think. I think. Did I say which movie did I say it was underrated? I reviewed it and it was pretty, and I said, okay, we'll see. What movie did I see that I reviewed on my channel that I said was underrated? Aladdin 2? I can't remember. I feel like there was a movie I talked about that was very underrated that I reviewed. I can't remember it, honestly. I feel like there was one. If there's not, then fine, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my hand. Treasure Planet, yes. Atlantis, absolutely. I don't think I said Lilo. Did I say Lilo and Stitch was underrated? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if I did. X2 is underrated. The second X-Men, X2 I think is underrated. I think the Wolverine's actually underrated a little bit. That one samurai like movie, Lilo and Stitch, yeah, I think it's pretty underrated. Because the thing is, I love Disney classics like Aladdin and Lion King and Peter Pan or Hercules, but some reason I just seem to just personally put Lilo and Stitch above all those guys. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a personal thing to me, but kind of a little bit. Now I'm kind of want to go on this tangent. I want to go on this tendency of this. Holy shit. Peter Pan's not really an underrated movie. It's not really. What did I say was underrated? I can't remember. I know in my lifetime I've said there's many movies that are underrated. Reservoir Dogs is kind of underrated. Oh, I thought I heard my phone for a second. Ah, somewhat. It's been some time since I've seen it. All dogs go to heaven. Oh my gosh. I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that in school one time. Um, what the hell did I say before? I totally just forgot. I lost my thought because I thought I heard my home phone go off for a second. What did I say was underrated just a second ago? Holy shit. Oh God. All Dogs Go to Heaven is very heavily underrated. What did I say just now that was underrated? I said X2. I said the Wolverine. I didn't really say Peter Pan. Oh, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is underrated. I love Disney movies. Get a ton of love are pretty. Wait, but a lot of Disney movies that get a ton of love are pretty overrated. That's kind of true. That's kind of true. Well, okay, a little. I mean, I don't love Cinderella, but it's a nice tale. I love Peter Pan because I remember. That's true, Brandon. But like I said, I love Peter Pan because I remember when I was younger, Captain Hook, number one. Captain Hook was one of my favorite Disney villains growing up. I dressed up as him like way when I was small. Two, it's a classic like tale, very like sort of like fairy tale. Three, it's just one of those movies that when you're when you're like a little kid, you're a boy, you liked pirates. That was the one thing that that drew. That was the one thing. Hook, like Captain Hook, like the actual guy, Captain Hook, from Peter Pan was one of my favorite Disney villains when I was younger. Like he was like my favorite. It's a classic tale, and plus, it's to me, Peter Pan was one of those movies. It was one of those movies that when I was watching it, when I was like probably small and little, that it's like awesome pirates, because when you're younger, you're smaller. There's like specific things that like obviously boys and girls were into. Obviously us boys were into like things like cars and pirates. Girls were obviously just into like animals and dolls. So pirates were like a little boy's like calling in a way. So that's kind of like the thing I have towards it. And I guess in a personal matter, but it's a solid movie. Hook is underrated. Yes, I think it's one of Spielberg's underrated movies. How about that, Brandon? Out of Spielberg's filmography, it's one that's underrated. Because like obviously people think Jaws. I love Jaws. E.T. I love E.T. Gremlins. Gremlins is great. But I think Hook is very underrated. Hook's underrated. I don't know about Goonies. Let me think. Schindler's List is not really one that's not that it's underrated, but it doesn't get a lot of credit. Like not a lot of people talk about in terms of like Spielberg's filmography, because it's really breathtaking. It's really it's really like it's uncomfortable, it's unsettling, but it's just Schindler's List is a beautiful movie. Schindler's List is so fucking exactly. Jurassic Park's another one. It's up there that when you think of Spielberg. Trying to think. But yeah, I don't know if it's underrated, Schindler's List, but I know for a fact that it just doesn't get that much credit. Sure, like I said, it's very like unsettling because of the topic matter, but it's still just a beautiful movie. That score just is so fantastic. John Williams is amazing at it. Have you seen The Pianist? I know I've heard of it before, and I feel like I have, but just been so long. But I feel like I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, Brandon. I just can't remember if I've seen it before or not. Honestly. Now you got me on this whole like tendency of I'm trying to think of like underrated films. But yeah, I'd say you're right. Hook is one of them. Maybe Gremlins. I don't know if it's underrated, but I really have a soft spot for Beetlejuice a ton. Like in terms of Burton's like filmography. I love Edward Scissorhands. I love Batman. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. But I love Beetlejuice a lot more. For some reason. I don't know if it's considered underrated, if you will, maybe. Trying to think what the hell else is there. the first Spider-Man is kind of a bit underrated-ish, unless I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just spitballing right now, honestly. Um, hmm. Well, Spider-Man 2 gets obviously it's not that it's overrated, but it's really loved. Uh, Lion King 2 is kind of underrated. Yeah, and also actually, you know what? Yeah, I think that's kind of I don't know if I'm wrong on that or if I'm right on that. The Maguire one is kind of underrated. But Amazing Spider-Man is underrated a little bit. I think it's kind of underrated. And on a side, on actually speaking of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I view the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as like my ultimate guilty pleasure. I know it's bad and everything, but it does have some quality to it that's kind of interesting. But whatchamacallit, I view it as a guilty pleasure. That's like my ultimate guilty pleasure is Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, that's true. The second one gets a lot more love, and the third one, it gets the wrong type of love because it's a meme. It's a hilarious meme, but I don't really I can't see myself in love with like Spider-Man 3. I can't. I really can't. I get people, it's hilarious because you can laugh at it and make fun of it. It's one of those movies you can just enjoy to make fun of, but as a whole, it's really just bad. I mean, it's the worst, but it's not one of the worst like comic book movies or one of the worst Marvel movies. Do I take that back? No, I actually don't take that back because I really, in terms of Marvel movies that I hate, the worst one for me, I think, is either Fantastic or Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I can't take Venom's. Yeah, because it's Topher Grace. It's the guy from that 70s show. Like, come on. Like, little scrawny little Topher Grace is Venom. Yeah. And he tries to be all intimidating, like, oh, we're gonna kill the spider. Aren't you intrigued? I sound so cool, right? Yeah, Eric Foreman. I couldn't think of his name. Yes. He would have made on paper he looks like a Peter Parker, not an Eddie Brock. That's why even though the Venom movie isn't well received, at least it gave us a better Venom performance, like Tom Hardy. Come on. What else would be underrated? But like I said, in terms of the worst Marvel movies, I hate over Spider-Man 3. I would say probably, yeah, Venom's not bad. It's just I don't like what like how bland and generic Riot is. You don't have really a great standout villain. I mean, yeah, he's got those axe like arms, but he doesn't look any different from your main main protagonist, if we're calling Venom a protagonist, because he's just like, oh, he's this gray, this blah. It's like not that really interesting, and he doesn't look that much different from Venom, to be honest. Sure, it's like, ooh, he's bigger. It's like, okay, and it's like, ooh, he's scarier. Ooh, he's like the big bad. He's like the king of like the symbiotes. It's like weird. Why and weird. But okay, I get it. You want to save Carnage for your sequel, and that was a smart decision because Carnage, even though it would have saved the first Venom movie, you want to bring him in as your sequel villain, just like what you do with the Joker from The Dark Knight. Oh hell yeah! I've been wanting to actually watch Sonic. I forgot. I've been wanting to watch that. Dude, Carnage is, indeed, he really fucking is, honestly. Let me think here. But like I said, Carnage he's obviously like your sequel villain you want to save. You don't want to bring him in too soon. Kind of like with the Joker, like with the Dark Knight trilogy. Because sure, the Burton movie worked to have Joker in your first film, but Nolan was like, you know what? Let's save the Joker for like future installments, which is obviously different, and it was modern because it kind of went with our times because usually like you never would have thought. Because most likely here's the thing. Tim Burton didn't technically and originally didn't want to do Batman Returns. So it kind of was a bit more fitting to be like, you know what? Let's have the Joker, and then that would be our Batman movie. But because it made so much money and it did successful, Burton was like, okay, I guess we can do a second one. We could do Batman Returns. So I guess Nolan was like, you know what? We live in a more like modern 21st century sort of era. Let's do things different with cinema. So we're gonna save our main villain, our big villain, for like a sequel. And that's what I think Ruben Fleischer or Andy Serkis, that's gonna direct Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, is doing with Carnage. But I feel like they could have had someone better, at least whatchamacallit, maybe for the first Venom, you could have maybe like made different details to Riot, maybe made him look different, maybe different. Wait, who do you think is the best Joker? My opinion will probably change with this over time, but the best ones, well, you know what? I can't say the best one, but the best ones are, yeah, I know, because there's a huge list of Jokers. I know. But I don't know the best, but the best, like plural, would definitely be, I put up there Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, Joaquin Phoenix. Fuck it. I'll say Cesar Romero. I don't care. I'll say Cesar Romero. He was great. Troy Baker. This is no particular order. I'm just going down the line. Troy Baker, John DiMaggio, Kevin Michael Richardson, that guy who voiced him in The Dark Knight Returns, and one more. There's one more I really like. Can't remember. I said Caesar. Fuck, I can't remember. Maybe Zach Galifianakis? I don't know. Well, not that he wasn't a bad Joker, but I'm trying to think of all the different Jokers I know of. Romero, Nicholson, Hamill, Ledger, Keane. Yes. There's another one I can't think of. I might have said him already. Did I? I might have. But real quick, let's see. My all-time favorite is Mark Hamill. I mean, Mark Hamill is just awesome. He's one of my favorite voice actors. I get a kick out of him in anything he does, really, to be honest. Even if it's something like as stupid as what was one thing he did that I thought was really dumb? He was like in a Disney Channel or like in a Disney Junior TV show that I was scrolling through channels and all of a sudden I just hear Mark's voice and I'm like, is that Mark Hamill? And I'm like, okay. I was like, this is a little weird, but all right. Let me think here. But real quick, I think with Venom, they could have at least done with Riot was maybe make him look a little bit different instead of just bland gray. Maybe add a little bit something to him. And plus, the guy who was under the suit didn't help anything because he's just your generic, typical CEO business asshole. It's like, yeah, but that's not really that interesting. I would have rather had some of the other symbiotes like Lasher or Scream or any other ones. Toxin would have been cool, even though technically he's a spawn of Venom and Carnage, but still, you could have done something cooler. And I would say anti-Venom, but that would be like really, 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 really like awkward because all of a sudden you basically go from, oh yeah, Tom Hardy. Yeah, here's Tom Hardy. Now he has cancer, and now we have anti-Venom. Like in basically one movie. So that'd be kind of like you want to save anti-Venom for like your trilogy maybe because Tom Hardy is signed for a Venom trilogy. He's like, I'm down for it. We'll maybe see the symbiote saga. We'll maybe see lethal protector. Sounds pretty awesome. I like it. But trying to think, maybe let's see. Like he defined that personality of the Joker, whereas that bipolar sinister. Yeah, that's interesting. I never looked at it like that way, the whole bipolarness. Like that's like you're not wrong, but that's interesting that you point that out. That's cool. That's an interesting like take on it, on a way to see the Joker, or at least his character, or just how he is in his mind, how mentally insane. I can't think of that other Joker. I think I might have named my Jokers. I can't remember. I can't remember the guy who was in The Dark Knight Returns. He was awesome. Where is he? Yeah, that's fine. Jared Leto. This Joker, the Dark Knight Returns Joker. What is Buddy barking at, dude? Coochie, I swear. You're killing me, Smalls. All right. I guess it was just a package or some crap. He was fucking terrifying. Oh yeah, the Dark Knight Returns dude. That was, and I was still blown away by when he like literally snapped his own neck in that scene after basically a big brutal beatdown by Batman. Like he has a fucking batarang in his eye. And I was like, I remember seeing that first. I was like, damn. I was like, they really went like, not that it was like super R animated graphic, but for me when I first saw that movie, I was like, whoa, like this is like really brutal shit right here. And that moment when he's like, see you in hell, and he just snaps his own neck, and he's like, and he went on this whole like this monologue of, you know, like you, even though you won't kill me, it's still your fault that you did this, and they're gonna come after you for it. So just chills. It gave me chills. I remember when I first saw it. I think that's all the Jokers I can think of. I know there's one guy I'm missing. I don't know if it was Galifianakis. He was good, but I don't know if I'd put him like up top there. I really can't remember, to be honest. I know there's one guy. I can't think of him. What do you think? Hamill, Baker, Nicholson. Oh, that guy who the voice, that one Joker voice from Injustice. I thought he was not bad. I think he's all right. I think he's cool. He's good. Comedy wise, Zach was good, but compared to the rest, yeah, that's probably a good route to look at it. Because that's the same thing you could probably say for Will Arnett. You could say the same thing for the Lego Batman. Like in comedy, it's really funny, but as the rest and compared to the others, yeah. Because Lego Batman was a pretty good movie. It was mainly a comedy. Yeah, and it felt like a parody almost, because you could tell like it's making fun of some of its own material. And there's a lot of material that made fun of, which was good. It was smart about it. Like you could basically you had no limitations almost. Excuse me. I think I'll probably probably be done with this. Probably and give this another like 10 minutes, and this is probably a good wrap up. 10 minutes. No, wait, hang on. Let me see. So it's 2:12 now. You know what? Yeah, like around like 10, 15 minutes. I'll be wrapping up. But if you guys if any more people pop in and jump on, tune in, get more chats, make more suggestions, keep it going before within the last like 10, 15 minutes we'll have. Sweet. That'd be really cool. A lot. Because I don't plan on going up. I'm not going to go up 3 hours again. It was nice and it was cool. I did 3 hours and I kind of just went on my own little thing, and it is what it is. It was fine. I didn't have a problem with it, but I'm not going to do that every time. What's going on, Velocity? We're just doing I just finished up Endgame. I figured just do a small Q&A just for a bit. It may not say it in the chat. I mean, not in the chat. I'm not going to necessarily put it in the title, but yeah. Could you review the video? The thing you sent me, you said the 5 minutes of Thor being a baby. Sure. Maybe I could do a reaction to it. Velocity, you want me to see it? You want to see a reaction video to that? You'll probably, I'll probably like, it'll be good because 5 minutes. What do I use? Screencast-O-Matic goes up to 15 minutes, so that's pretty good. I can go like for a good thing like that. I'll give you that. How about Velocity? You want me to do a reaction to that? Do sort of things like that. I don't mind doing trailer reactions and do more like video reactions. Is there any like topics or any not topics? Maybe like movie news or any like things going on in the media you guys want me to go into? Even though it's just kind of Velocity and Brandon right now, but maybe if more people tune in, hopefully so. But we'll see. But it all depends. But yeah, probably like around like 2:30ish, maybe. Like because I'm at 2 hours and 13, so probably like around like 15ish, 30ish. Right now, not now. I'm obviously doing a live stream. I want to kind of like at least give you guys like maybe like leave some suggestions maybe in the chat, requests, and we'll do a small Q&A. And then by like 2:30, like hour, like not the time 2:30, but I'm looking at the time for the stream. The live stream is 2:14. So once it hits 2:30, we'll be done. Simpsons movie is apparently getting a sequel. Oh yeah, isn't that gonna be like on Disney Plus or something? I'm surprised by that actually. So wait, The Simpsons. Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I know what you're talking about, Brandon. Isn't it that scene where? Isn't it that like little clip of The Simpsons going to the movies and they have Chinos showing up. Marvel Holic. Oh, thanks, Velocity. But yeah, Brandon, is it that one? They're sitting in the movie theater and he's oh damn it. No, you know what? That's the new episode of The Simpsons. I don't recall anything of the sequel then. Never mind. Obviously they're really on the nose with that one. What's up, Velocity? What you got? Full blown out sequel. I suppose so. I mean, The Simpsons movie did good. It definitely captured really good essence. It was confirmed by Matt. Oh, sweet. Okay. That's really cool. Speak your question there, Velocity. Do you want the Star Wars saga to continue? Okay, I don't want to go too much into the Rise of Skywalker, but if Disney kind of did things a little bit better with the Rise of Skywalker, like if they kind of planned it out, no. But because of the way, no, actually, if Disney planned, whether they planned out the Rise of Skywalker the way it did or it didn't, I feel like they could do a 10th movie and that be it. But in terms of the movies, no. In terms of the television, in terms of the animation, absolutely, because you got the Mandalorian still coming out. You got the Obi-Wan series we can have come out. We could have still Clone Wars happen. We could still have Rebels. Rebels is possibly having. No, it's not Rebels. Rebels is getting a sequel show. So they're obviously doing more spin-off shows. We're getting more of these TV shows for Disney and for Star Wars. So I'm open for that saga to be open. For the movies, I don't see them doing a 10th one, but if they maybe planned it out a little bit better, did things different with Rise of Skywalker, then maybe we could see a 10th. I don't know. Good for you, Velocity. I still don't know how I feel about the Rise of Skywalker. What I plan to do either later today or probably tomorrow, I'm gonna rewatch the Rise of Skywalker. I'm gonna view it a second time, see if my perspective or my opinion changes. If not, then it's a rough mess. Well, it's a mixed mess. Let's call it that for now. But if my opinion changes, then we'll see what happens. Do you watch TV series The Flash? Yes, I did. I am not caught up, but the last thing I remember seeing was season 4 with if I remember correctly, they did. I think the last thing I remember was Elongated Man, or there was an episode where all of a sudden the Tinker, no, not the Tinker, the Thinker, all of a sudden was like, oh shit, we need to put up an illusion. Like they figure out who we were. And then he's going to his nurse, his aide, like, oh shit, we better do something quick. And then they put up this fake illusion of oh, I'm just a normal guy, Phineas, whatever his name was. No, wait, was his name Phineas? I don't remember the Thinker's name. I'm not caught up with 5 and 6 and 7 Velocity, but once I do, I'll let you know. So we'll maybe do a little discussion on that. But yeah. But that's the last thing I remember for Flash. First season for me was awesome. No, actually, you know what? I liked the first season. It was very solid. Season 2 was way better than the second. I think season 2 was way better than the first. Yeah, it was the Thinker. Okay, I'm thinking of the Tinker from Marvel and the Thinker. Yeah, it was the Thinker. Him and his they all of a sudden. I remember Team Flash is like, wait a minute, we know who the Thinker is now. We know who this new villain is. We figured out who it could be, and then they're like, Thinker's like, they figured out our plan. Now what do we do? All right, let's make a fake house, and you'll be a fake person. Okay, and they walk, and then they open the door, and he's just a normal crippled guy that has whatever Christopher Reeve had, the late Christopher Reeve had. There's only 6. I thought there was a trailer for 7. My bad. That's all right. I'm saying that's all right that there's 6 seasons. I thought there was 7. I thought I saw a trailer for 7. My bad. First season was solid. Second season was better. Third season was kind of mixed because I liked some of the things it did, and I didn't like some of the things it did. Fourth is kind of weird. There's like those specific episodes I liked, and then those specific episodes I was like, really? Like the first episode was weird. No, it wasn't the first episode of season 4. It was the second episode. Second episode was where's the one they had like the new suit, and then the new suit malfunctions, and he's like, "What's happening? I don't know what's going on." And it's like inflated, and inflates like a freaking Willy Wonka thing. I'm like, why are we doing this weird little gimmick? I don't know. And the one girl, the one metahuman girl, like lucky whatever, luck be a lady, whole thing, trick shot, whatever thing, cool, but it's kind of like, okay, you got this one girl, sure, and it's ironic that she has this luck. Good concept, but an okay delivery, I guess. In my opinion, do you read novels? Yes, I do. Well, yes, I do. I have different graphic novels. I've read different. I've been on hiatus, but the last thing I read was the Thrawn book here, the Star Wars here, Higher to the Empire. I recently got this, and it's good. And it's when obviously the Star Wars canon, the Star Wars legend stuff is awesome, especially when you have the Thrawn stuff, because Thrawn's awesome. Maybe if you guys want to see like stuff on more novels, then I'll definitely review that just to say Admiral Thrawn's awesome, and there you go. And then the Solo kids are pretty cool, and then Skywalker, obviously Mara Jade, so pretty sweet shit. But if you want to, Velocity, I did a video on. There's a novel. Oh, I've read Percy Jackson. I can't find the Percy Jackson books, but I know I read the first one and a bit of the second. That's all I remember. Because it was so long ago. I remember reading Percy Jackson. I remember reading I remember reading Percy Jackson when they were kind of like a thing, like when the movies were a thing and the books were a thing. So that's when I last read them. So probably like back in like 2000, like early 2000s. But Velocity. Wait, I'm trying to think. What was I gonna say? If you want to check out, I did a video or a review of a Star Wars book that kind of like it's like a rough draft of what Star Wars was going to originally be, and it's like this whole different thing. Like if I remember correctly, like Princess Leia wasn't going to have any like tie-ins to being related to Luke Skywalker. She was related to actual royalty. Darth Vader had nothing to do with being Luke's dad. It was really weird, and all of a sudden there's Anakin Skywalker, and there's Star Killer. It was really cool. It's an interesting concept. Funny. Well, I find that funny, Velocity, because I know someone personally that loves Harry Potter. She would die about Harry Potter. Well, not literally, but she dies over Harry Potter. I'm one of those guys that never got into Harry Potter. I don't know why. And I have a hilarious story to tell you guys, and whoever's ever listening. I think you should continue Percy Jackson. If I find him, sure. If I do, sure, we'll see. I probably got plenty of time till then. Let me think. But with Harry Potter, I have a funny story for you guys. So, when I was first being like growing up and getting older, and obviously just life happening, I never. Like my main things were Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and a few other couple stuff like maybe Godzilla's and Disney and a few other medias. But the things I never would ever watch because I felt to me it was something I would never get into was this is like, what is this? Like probably from 3-year-old me to probably, let me think, like 12-year-old me, 11-year-old me. This was like from 3-year-old to 12-year-old me. I never watched Star Trek. I never watched Lord of the Rings. I never watched anime, and I never watched Harry Potter. And those were never my things. I don't know why. It was just weird. And if I were to get into any of those stuff, I would choose Lord of the Rings over Harry Potter. And that's not the funny story. The funny story is I remember in 7th grade, second book, The Sea of Monsters, third book, Cursed Titan, the Titan Curse. Okay, I knew it was something with monsters. I couldn't think of it. Thank you, Velocity. Funny stories. But back to my funny story for a second because I get a kick out of it. So 7th grade, it was my English class or my reading class, and it was like a Friday. And usually my teacher what our teacher would do is that Fridays, if we kind of like did stuff like we did our work, we did everything like Monday through Thursday. Friday, we watch a movie. So Friday, our teacher picks Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter, and my two friends are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Harry Potter! You're gonna love this!" And I'm like, "Okay." I'm sitting here like, we'll see about that. So, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's Harry Potter! Look at it!" And they're like, "Oh, there's Harry, there's Hermione, there's Ron Weasley, oh, Voldemort!" And I'm sitting, I was like, okay. And what I gathered from the first movie was I hated the treatment that Harry Potter gets from his aunt and uncle. Hermione, Ron, and Harry are okay characters. They're not like these, oh my gosh, amazing, complex characters. And I'm like, they're okay at the first start. I get it, they're kids, and they're just starting these movies and all and such, but I never, like, the thing is, when people think of like the best heroic protagonists in movie history, Harry Potter is up there next to like people like Spock and Neo and Luke Skywalker. And I think to myself, Harry Potter, and I remember watching the first movie, and I sat there and I went, Harry Potter is considered one of the best characters next to Luke and all these other characters that have, like, from Neo to just everything in general. Just gonna sneak into the chat. All right, cool. I don't notice anyone else there. It's just Velocity. I don't know what you're talking about. I've heard a lot of people say that, and I know, and I definitely know someone that'll back me. That'll definitely like really like just knock that out of my head. Say that, and in a joking manner, of course. And I think she said to me, "There's like 8 books now, or there's 9 books technically." Because there's 7 movies, there's 8 or 9 because of the script or something like that. The Cursed Child I keep hearing about, so I'm like, okay. What was it? But I sat there and I said, Harry's next to like all these best characters like Neo and Luke and Spider-Man, and also the characters like Captain Kirk and Spock and all these complex people I keep hearing about, like Frodo and Gandalf and these great like cinema characters of history and everything. And I'm like, he doesn't seem to belong, in my opinion. And the only great thing that really stood out to me was Voldemort. And the unfortunate thing was I didn't like what they did with Voldemort at first. I was like, why is he like a part of this one person? His face is on the back of his face or something. And I was like, this is Voldemort? I'm like, this is cool, but visually, but I'm confused. 8, yes, I was close though. Luna Lovegood. Oh, that one girl. She's like a weird cloud cuckoo lander. She sees the Nargles or whatever the fuck they're called, the Narlaws or something. The 8th book is not written by Jake. That's the other thing too. I keep hearing about Velocity. Like I said, I know someone I've been with. She's kind of like put that in my head. I remember I could picture it. So yeah. But it's all I'm joking. I'm not saying it's a fan fiction. I guess it was more like a play or a script. I think she said, from when I remember Velocity. I think if I remember correctly. I don't think she'll pop on. If she does, then help me out here. Then. Oh. God, I miss her. All right, that's cool, Velocity. Good chat with you, man. Good chat with you. And if nothing else ever happens in this chat, then I shall conclude this stream. But yeah, that's my little tale. That's my little story with Harry Potter. Is I wasn't really as interested in it, but now I know someone personally. It's an inside joke, all right? Come on. It's an inside joke for me. I need a good laugh. So yeah. What you call it? That's my little. I think that's a little funny to me. My own little story. I get a kick out of, because here my friends going, "Oh my gosh, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter," and I'm just like, okay. and I'm waiting here. I'm doing basically the Willy Wonka thing. Like, I'm so intrigued. This is terrible. No, come on now. Is this when you show up all of a sudden, Alex? I know you're in the same predicament as I am, but I'm just busting your balls, dude. Not literally. Oh gosh. But yeah. That's just probably gotta be it for my little story there. Oh, dude, come on. I was making a joke. Dude, busting the quote, the phrase meaning busting someone's balls is no different than busting someone's chops. I've heard people say it before. All right. Come on, Alex. It was just a joke. But I think I'm probably done unless I don't think anything else will happen. But no one else pops in, then I think that'll probably conclude the video. I think I'm okay with everything. Please don't read Percy Jackson. Okay. Please do read. My bad. I said don't read. I'm sorry, the velocity. Like I said, I've read the first Percy Jackson, and I think I remember reading a bit of the Sea of Monsters, and what was it? I think that was it afterwards. So that's all I remember in terms of Percy Jackson. Let's see, I was about to agree with you. Don't. I mean, the first one was not, if I remember correctly, the first book's not bad. Second one, I can't remember too much of, but the movies are, they're not like something I'm gonna watch again. Maybe I'll watch once and I'll be like, okay, cool. Let's see, I'm pretty good, but it drags on at one point. That's the sole reason I dislike it. The books, okay, yeah, I see that point. I see that point. But that's a good opinion. Oh, movies are horrible, inaccurate. Yeah. I mean, when we. Let me think. Did I actually see the first Percy Jackson in theaters? I think I did actually, and I remember liking it. But I don't think it's really as good as It's definitely not as good as I remember it. And it's not a movie I'm gonna be like, ooh, Percy Jackson. It's just be like, oh, okay, kind of just skip, you know. But I think that's gonna probably do it unless more people show up and more people start to chat in. If not, then I think that's gonna probably do it. I think everything seems to wrap up pretty well. Took a pretty good time to obviously just get into my thoughts and deep dive and review Endgame, and also just kick back and just chill and relax and kind of have this moment of just Q&A time sort of thing. And maybe I'll do this more often. This might be a one-time deal, or maybe I'll do this more often. I don't know. You guys want to see more of these like live reviews? I won't do them every time, but I'll do them like maybe Thursdays, or maybe I'll do. You know what? If I don't do live reviews every Thursdays, then how about like live streams every Thursday? And what do you guys suggest for live streams? Throw in your suggestions there, and we'll probably like call it maybe quits a little bit. And I'm not pushing for 3 hours. I'm not gonna push for 3 hours. If maybe all of a sudden people start showing up, then sure, it'll be accidental. But I'm not gonna keep like dragging this on until further notice. But leave your suggestions in the chat of like, what did I do? If you guys want me to do more live stream Thursdays, I'm not going to call them live stream Thursdays, but if you guys want me to see more live streams Thursdays, every Thursday, I'll do them since I got plenty of time to do them. I got like basically plenty of hours to kind of do stuff and kind of do that sort of shit. If that's something you guys want to see, leave suggestions, leave some ideas. Like, what should we do? Maybe I'll do another live review. Maybe I'll find another movie to review, or if you guys have a movie to suggest, then let me know. Stuff like that. If there's any games you want me to do, I can do games. I'm down for doing more games. Maybe we'll do another Battlefront. I don't mind doing part 2 for the Battlefront stream. Which by the way, you can guys check it out somewhere in my channel. I'll leave a link in the description, but you could go check out my channel. It's in my playlist, somewhere in my videos, stuff like that. It's in my content. It's quite I basically kind of gave away my mystery stream, but at this point, it's fine, and I'm gonna keep it out of mystery stream, so that way when people search it up, they'll be like, "Oh shit, what's this mystery stream?" And I'll just be like, "Bam, Star Wars." So yeah, but if nothing else is gonna happen right now, I'm probably gonna cut this down. Probably go eat afterwards. Maybe just relax. Could use a good like. I love saying the filibuster with Patton Oswalt, the Parks and Recreation, one of my favorite episodes of Parks and Recreation. And he's sitting there, and then the outtake, the whole like uncut edition, is him going, I have no mouth, I have no like basically like nothing in my mouth left, and I need Margot Rubio. And he just slams his head down on the desk. You could hear it. It's just great. Well, not the fact that he basically is like, I'm literally out of breath here, and I'm about to go Margot Rubio. So, it's funny how he's gone on this whole big thing about filibuster, and next thing you know, he's like, he went on from saying, "Oh yeah, Star Wars could cross over to the Marvel universe," and if he went on, and here's a fun fact. If he didn't stop, he was going to go on to talk about like the Lost Boys and the Road Warriors and somehow cross those universes into Marvel and Star Wars and also the Olympic gods. So Wrath of the Titans, Clash of Titans, crazy shit, honestly. It would have been funny to hear just how he would explain the Road Warriors and the Lost Boys show up. How would the Lost Boys be in the Marvel universe, and how they interconnect with Star Wars? That would be quite a treat. But I might call it off, guys. Since nothing else is happening, if something does happen, then it's not going to be on. I'm not going to do this on purpose. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you like this. If you want to see more of this, let me know in the chat, in the comments. You can check this out on the replay, all this fun jazz. I mean, I would say if you guys like Endgame, but I think everyone loves Endgame at this point. I don't think there's anyone I know that doesn't like Endgame. If there is someone that doesn't like Endgame, let me know your thoughts. I would be interested to hear that if someone says, "Oh, Endgame's overrated," or "Oh, I hate Endgame because of this and that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's an interesting opinion." Or if you guys want to say, "I love Endgame," or "Endgame was awesome," or if you want to just leave your thoughts, your opinions on Endgame, sweet, leave them in the comments. You want to make requests, leave suggestions, let them down below. Leave them down below, because I want to take a lot more requests. I want to take a lot more suggestions. That's what I'm doing lately, is doing a lot more requests and a lot more suggestions. I'm going to start doing more reviews that I'm going to like wind up. Maybe I'll watch a movie and be like, you know what, I should review this. And I'll probably do that for myself. But I'm taking this time for you guys to basically go, okay, let's suggest some stuff. Excuse me. Let's suggest some stuff for him to talk about, for him to review, for him to just discuss, and just make this more interactive and more engaging. So that way, because we're obviously stuck in the same situation, unfortunately, it is what it is. So we might as well kind of like make this more like, hey, leave more some requests, and I'll do those requests and all that other stuff. I'm working on other stuff. I'm working on other projects, but in that process, I also would like I'll take suggestions. I'll take requests. I'll also do that. And I also want to keep this channel up and going, keep it occupied and all that stuff. So you got to do and work with the system. So I'm keeping it a balance here. 50% of my content right now will be of stuff that I'll probably like do myself and be like, you know what, I think this would be cool to put on my channel. And the other 50% will be you guys requesting things, you suggesting stuff and whatnot. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys for tuning in. Whoever else is tuned in, thanks Velocity for showing up. Thanks Brandon for showing up. If nothing else is going to happen. I hope anyone else that isn't like a YouTuber or doesn't have an account that can't put their chat in there. I thank you guys for showing up. I know people like my friends personally that probably don't have accounts and don't have channels besides Brandon. Well, actually, yeah, Brandon's a friend. Alex is a friend. Velocity, great talking with you, friend. Great talking with you, bud. I want to build a community around here. That'd be cool. I've talked about this before, and I want to talk about it again just for a brief moment. I hope I can kind of get that going, and that really means a lot when you guys like this video, you comment, you share. Make sure you also share this video, and make sure you ring that bell to be notified, and make sure you subscribe. It means a lot, obviously. It helps just within this time, and it helps me grow the channel and just kind of like I said, build this big community I want to get doing and all that. So but thank you everyone that has tuned in, whether you're able to chat or not chat. Hopefully you guys can tune in and let me know, so like I said, suggestions for any live streams, any videos. It doesn't even have to be a live stream. It could be a movie review. It could be a top 10. It could be a gaming. It could be an awesome news, like anything I can cover, like in media. Whether it's a movie, a TV show, a comic, something that's going on in media, like, oh, did you hear about this casting? Or do you hear about the trailer? Like trailer reactions, maybe trailer reviews. We'll do maybe more novels, we'll do more comic stuff. I'll maybe review some things like that. I'll take and like I said, I'll take suggestions from you guys, and I'll look back and thank you all for that. Hopefully once this pandemic's over, I want to do vlogs. I want to go back and do vlogs. I want to hopefully just do random bullshit vlogs, like maybe just me like bullshitting around Walmart. I find something hilarious to do, or maybe I go somewhere like, hey, I'm gonna go to Disney. Hopefully it's gonna be a year until that happens, but I'm just saying for the future. And things like I want to do a short film. I want to possibly do a short film on this channel. Get that going. That'd be fun to do. That's gonna be really quite an experience and quite a project, and I can't wait to do that. And I can't wait to do also the upcoming stuff. Hopefully I could do collabs after this pandemic. There's many people I want to collab with, and I want to like do shit with. Brandon, you're definitely one of them out there that I want to do collabs with. We still have a lot of shit to do. Hope everything's working out for you, Brandon, with the drawings. And don't forget to send that to me when you're done, and like the rough drafts and everything. Brandon's also been helping me out with like this drawing, these drawings and these sketches I have in mind, for like not necessarily OCs, but something I want to personally have a hold on, and maybe I can create OCs around. We'll see. Depends on what may happen. Who knows? But I think I'll wrap this up. Anything else real quick? Like I said, probably Saturday or maybe next week, look out for a review of Rise of Skywalker and maybe like a few other things along the way. So hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys like this and everything. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. And that's a wrap.